Hello, I'm just getting things ready. Oh my gosh, so many people already waiting for me. This is freaking sick. Alright, give us a little bit of time and we'll be ready super soon, everybody.
Sounds good.
Oh, hi, Zara.
Hello. Okay.
I'm a Sony logo loser.
So the actual Zara has arrived.
Actual Zara has indeed arrived. Oh my gosh, my camera is so slow. It's good for you to see that. Fun. Love that. Okay, do I like double up a bunch of times for you guys or echo at all when I do this? No? Okay. If I do this, does that make it start doing weird stuff? Okay, so now I'm echoing. No? No echoing? Okay, I think I've set it so that you guys will hear each other in the different discords through my audio. I think that is how I do that, and you should be able, that should work for you now. So you guys should be able to hear each other as if you're in the same call. Those are free. So yeah, Trans Academy, can you hear people in Trans Voice? Nice and clearly. Yeah? Oh wait, yeah, are you guys like hearing yourself in like a problematic way? Because that might be a thing. So like people in Trans Voice, is it like, are you like hearing your own voice coming back through? No? Okay. Okie dokie. Boop 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 boop. Dark chat. There's the YouTube chat. Very good. And last chat to get moved is boop boop boop. Okay. Okay, my layout is perfect. I can see everything. We've got a big turnout at Trans Voice today. Oh my gosh. You guys are freaking awesome.
Yeah,
All of you are. That includes you personally being shouted out there. Okie dokie. So, reminder for how this works for any new people. We are currently in 3 different discords simultaneously. So if you hear somebody that you don't see, they're in one of your discords, either in my Discord, in Trans Voice, or in Trans Academy. And there is also the YouTube chat. So I've got 4 chats in front of me. As a result as well, I can't see who's talking when. So like when you do talk, just bear in mind that I'm not going to know who you are, and I'm not going to know your name or anything, because I can't like see you. So I have like a very crammed screen right now. So yeah, and I'll basically refer to people as person who just spoke. That's how it will work. These are streamed live onto YouTube. What you are seeing right now is either my camera or shared screen. Oh, hang on, Trans Network wasn't working. There you go, Trans Network. And yes, start event. Oh, I need to ping everywhere, don't I? Hang on, let me just do all the pings and stuff. Boo. That is replied to that. Okay, one thing done. Trans voice. Voice discussion. Oh, I should do that with. That should be all of this one. Okie dokie. Do you guys think in trans voice should I also be pinging voice chat invite? I feel like that's not necessarily like voice training stuff, but I don't know. So I only ever ping voice training. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if it's like, because it's not my Discord, so I don't want to like ping inappropriately. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Cool. Okay, and then for people in Trans Network already get a ping, so we'll do that. Okie dokie, we should be about ready to get started then. Okay, let's get started. So, reminder to everybody, we are streaming live on YouTube right now. They can't hear you or even hear me right now. All they hear is the background music, which you are hopefully able to hear right now. What is my camera, or for Trans Academy, my screen share is what they see. It is the stream. As we go forward into the workshop, they will be able to start hearing me and us. So just keep that in mind. I think that's everything that I need to disclaim. Yeah, okay, let's get into it. So as you see the flowers or petals trickle across my screen, that will be when YouTube can hear everything. Any questions about that before I do it? No, you can. So the thing that I'm is my camera, the virtual camera. That is the same as the stream. So either or. You can watch a stream if you want to. Pardon?
I'm on a PS5, so I have to switch to a computer.
Oh, yeah. If you can't see my video feed right now, then you might need to switch to something else. Whether that's on your PC or whatever. Or just watch through the live stream. Whatever you prefer. I didn't even know you could have Discord on your PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm a dude.
That's crazy. Okie dokie. Alright, I am going to head us into the live workshop. So, I will see you all on the flip side. Oh, stream has been able to hear me this whole time. Hi, stream. I didn't mute my mic properly. Oh. Alright. Presentation. Okay, hello, YouTube. I haven't been acknowledging you this whole time because I didn't think you could hear me. But it turns out you can, so yay. So, boo. Okay. Welcome all to the voice, the Trans Voice, the Trans Network Voice Modification Workshop. Today we're going to be going over voice feminization, voice masculization, voice androgenization, the whole lot in its entirety. I am big sleepy today, so give me some grace. I will mess up and it will be an absolute mess, but we are all here for that. Boo, 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 boo. Anything I need to update you on? I don't think so. We can just go into it. Okay, so this is for the people in the Discords. Workshop rules and etiquette. It's nothing crazy. Just make sure we're being nice and respectful to our fellow attendees. So I don't want anybody being like disrespectful to anybody. Make sure we're being like really respectful of the learning environment. So like keep interruptions or shout outs at appropriate times. If you don't know when it's an appropriate time, just rely on me to tell you, because I will do that. And keep things on topic. So I don't need, especially when we're on mics, I don't need to hear about what you've been doing this weekend. I do need to be hearing about your voice. So just keep everything on topic. We're also going to have an open forum section at the end, as always. So if you are wanting just some one-on-one attention on your voice, we can do that, but save it for the end, which is where we'll do everybody's for that. And there is no limit to how many people can do that. We just keep going until we've run out of people, essentially. Once everybody's like had as much feedback as they want, then that's when the stream finally comes to an end. Usually it's about 2 hours of the initial lecture portion and then about an hour of the open forum section. Timings vary massively though. It's always a little bit different. Okay, any questions about the workshop rules and etiquette? And if we can keep ourselves muted for the lecture portion and just use the chats, that would be useful for me. And yeah, there will be portions where we can unmute, and I'll let you know about that. No questions. Also, I want like a super culture thing that I'm trying to enforce is if I go through a topic and say like something along the lines of, does that make sense to everybody? I need some like feedback from you guys to know if it's making sense or not. So if I ask you all if it makes sense and if everybody's following, blank chats are terrible for me because I don't know if the audience is following or if people are getting left behind. So do make sure you say like, even if it's just a yes, I'm following, that makes sense. Just so I can keep a track of if anybody's like falling behind a little bit, because I don't want any of you missing out on the learning. Cool, okie dokie. So firstly, who am I? My name's Zara, pleased to meet you. I've been working on my own voice since 2023 of October. It took me about, I really need to update this slide. It took me about 8 months to learn how to create my voice. How to produce it as you hear it right now. And then it took me there was a little gap between me coming out full time as trans. And then it took me from there like 2 months to fully naturalize my voice and bring it into my day-to-day routine. We need to update that slide. Oh my gosh, guys, let's update this live. Okay, you can see all my bookmarks. I am no longer aspiring. I am a professional voice coach. I don't know. This no longer makes sense as a line. We'll have to just delete it and think of something else to put there. As some of you know, I have been training over in Singuistics. As of last Sunday, I finished my training and we are launching as a full service. So I am now a professional voice coach, which is amazing. So yeah, that's a thing. All right. Moving forward, what am I not? This is really important. I'm not a medical professional. I have no medical qualifications at all. I'm not a speech language pathologist or anything like that. So I can't help you with anything medical. If you have medical questions, I'm likely just going to say, speak to your doctor about it because I don't know. I can't ever diagnose you with anything. I can't treat you for anything. Nothing medicine is happening here. The closest we ever get is if I hear something in your voice and I'm like, this is sounding like something that I've heard of, I might ask you to speak to a doctor. Again, that doesn't even mean you got it. That just means speak to your doctor because they'll know better than I will. Okay, any questions about that, Bex? That's a little bit important.
No question.
No? Okie dokie. All right, let's keep us going. All right, so we'll talk about a little bit of just the voice basics and how your voice functions. First of all, maintaining vocal health. The slide has not, there we go. So some important things to be doing. Stay hydrated. You'll see me drinking this throughout our workshop. Stay hydrated. It's really important for the vocal folds to be hydrated for very delicate muscles. So keep them hydrated. That'll help them be a bit more like limber, a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Like move around more easily, a bit more agile, all of that sort of stuff. A bit more flexible. That's what I want. So yeah, make sure we are drinking plenty. I asked all of you to drink a pint of water before coming, and that's why. When you drink, you don't directly hydrate the vocal folds because it goes down the esophagus, not the vocal tract. So because of that, the water has to go all the way through your digestive system and then enter your bloodstream, and then from your bloodstream circulate all the way back around to your vocal tract, where finally things start getting hydrated. So it's a whole process. Excuse me. There's a whole process before you actually hydrate your vocal tract. So you got to do it ahead of time, or just stay hydrated throughout the whole day. That's obviously the best situation. Typically, we're looking at 2 to 2.5 liters a day in terms of what you should be drinking of water. If you're on spironolactone, you might need to up it from there. Spironolactone is a diuretic, so it makes you pee a bunch, and we need to be topping up that water to keep ourselves nice and fresh. Anything else? Water helps with your mucus production as well. You do need some mucus in your vocal tract, I'm afraid. I know it sounds icky, but it's very, very protective. It's very useful. You need it. So these things are all going to help you. Hydration is really important. You've heard room temperature water is the best. Kinda, yeah, it doesn't really matter that much. Ice cold water, not so great, because that's going to cool down all of the vocal tract as you swallow, because the tube for where you swallow is like right behind the vocal tract. So you're just going to be chilling everything down, and as we'll talk about in a minute, we're wanting to be warmed up, not chilled down. So I would say just avoid like ice water. It doesn't have to be room temperature because that can be a bit icky. But yeah, not ice water. A nice warm cup of tea, not too hot, just pleasantly warm, can also be quite good. If we are going with tea, I would suggest not like British tea, or just not tea necessarily, but like a herbal tea. Tea itself, again, it's a diuretic, so you're going to be peeing more. Ginseng, yeah, that's fine. I don't think ginseng is a diuretic. Although, look that up yourself, because I'm not a doctor. Boo. Okay, for doing anything with voice, whether you're singing, masculizing, feminizing, whatever you're doing, I would always recommend staying nice and relaxed and keeping the muscles nice and relaxed, especially with gender voice stuff. We aren't like pushing the voice to do anything super crazy. We're just learning to talk. So it shouldn't feel like any more effort than talking normally does. Physical effort, I mean, mental strain is its own thing. But physically, it shouldn't be more exerting than just normal talking is. So make sure things are staying nice and relaxed. Never be like trying to squeeze and push to get something. Keep things relaxed, and that's always going to get you to the best possible voice. Warm-ups. Warm-ups are really important. One, they help with hydration because they increase the blood flow to the area, to the vocal tract. So as I mentioned earlier, to get hydrated, water has to go through your entire digestive system, enter the bloodstream. That blood has to get to your vocal tract. By doing warm-ups, we increase blood flow to the vocal tract, so we are increasing hydration. It's also going to help us clear away old mucus. It's going to help things be a bit more limber. It helps cure morning voice. It's just a nice little feature. It's just good. It's like all warm-ups in exercise. We are doing something that is exercise, like you are using a muscle. And these are very, very delicate muscles, so we want a good warm-up to help us keep things nice and safe, nice and comfy. And things are just way easier to do once you've done a warm-up. Like, you can just literally do more. So, yeah. And we'll cover how to do a warm-up later. And lastly, it's actually really important in gender-affirming voice stuff, but we're just having a bit of fun with it. Exploration is really, really useful in everything to do with voice. So make sure you're just having a bit of fun with it. Don't stress out too much about it. A lot of people get very stressed about very specific things. This is just counterproductive to our learning. So we really want to just have a little explore, have some fun with it. Don't stress out super crazy about anything. And that's going to lead you to the best possible results. So, things to avoid. These first ones really, I can't stress enough that they don't matter very much at all. It's mainly the last three that I'm more concerned about. But I'll mention all of them just for the sake of it. So, spicy foods. Spicy foods contain a molecule called capsaicin. That's what you taste. That's what the spiciness is. Capsaicin is a mild irritant for the vocal tract. That's why sometimes you'll cough after something spicy. So, worth avoiding if it's right before your vocal warm-ups or vocal exercise, whatever. Caffeine. Caffeine dehydrates you. It's a diuretic. And I believe a mild irritant for the vocal tract as well. Very mild. So worth avoiding right before workshops, right before any practicing. Sugar dehydrates you. We've been over this. Smoking and vaping is obviously damaging to the vocal tract. I don't need to tell you that. Everybody knows that. You can still successfully feminize or masculinize or androgynize your voice as a smoker or a vapor, but it does make things significantly harder. So I'm not saying you have to quit, but if you can just keep things in moderation and definitely don't smoke or vape right before doing some training, it does all kinds of damage. So that one is a little bit more serious, but not unsurmountable. Dairy is a bit of a weird one. Dairy will just promote mucus production. I did mention earlier that mucus production is good, but dairy will just make you excessively produce. So right now isn't a good time for a bowl of ice cream. Keep it, what you do through the day, I really don't care what you do through the day. Just right before your voice training, not such a good idea. Do it like an hour beforehand or something. Okie dokie. Okay, these last three are a bit more concerning, and I do want you actively thinking about them. When you're doing your voice training, I want you to be avoiding anything that strains your voice, anything that's painful or experiencing discomfort, or any tension. Now, there's two main things I'm talking here. Either we have a general aching through the vocal tract. That just means you're a bit worn out, you're a bit tired now. It's not necessarily like a big problem. You've just done a lot, and it's worth taking a break. If you feel any sharp pain or any stabbing sensation, that's more likely that you've done some actual damage. Again, doing damage isn't like the end of the world, but you do need to take a break if you've had a bit of damage. I would say take a good few days off just to make sure everything recovers. Softies can help with, and we'll go over what softies are later. They are a warm-up, but they can help if you have injured your vocal tract a little bit. But I would generally just say take a little break and come back to it later. If you were to just push through the pain and keep going and going and going, one, it will never produce the sound you want it to produce. You're doing something wrong. If you feel strain, if you feel discomfort, any of those things, you are doing something wrong, and it won't produce a sound. It won't produce the sound that you want it to produce. Like me right now, this is not difficult or uncomfortable or tiring or anything like that. This is the exact same as if I was to speak in my voice before I did voice training. So I might get a bit tired after this workshop, but that's just because I spoke for 3 or 4 hours. It's nothing to do with the fem voice. But yeah, so nothing should feel painful, and that does mean you're doing something wrong. If you were to push through the pain, then you can get more serious injuries. If you were to really just keep going, always pushing through the pain and completely ignoring what your body's telling you, eventually you can cause some permanent damage. Things like vocal nodes are a thing. If you were to get vocal nodes, then that needs to be removed surgically. So a bit more of a big issue. I've never even heard of somebody actually having that happen. Certainly none of my students have ever had that happen, and I don't want today to be the day. So if you find yourself experiencing a little bit of pain, stop immediately, reflect on what just happened, and try to avoid that happening in the future. And absolutely come to me for help. I am a resource that is available to you, so use me. Okie dokie. Nat, you missed all the safety stuff. I would recommend, if you want, if you watch through the YouTube, somebody linked out for YouTube, it is below me somewhere, youtube.com/ what the heck? youtube.com/@trans_network. If you watch there, then you can rewind to the beginning and if you play it at like extra speed, then you'll eventually catch up. You're not very far behind though. So if you played it at like 1.5 or 1.25 speed, you'll catch up in no time. Any questions by the way? Anything to do with maintaining vocal health? Any questions from any of the chats?
No.
No?
I'm not sure what straining means.
Straining. So if you feel that your muscles are like really tight and like immobile, like if I do this, my muscles are like really, really tight right now. I can't really move my voice around very much. That's strain. That's sort of tightness of your muscles. Or like if I was to... Okay, this desk is too heavy for me to lift. I can't lift it. I probably can, but if I do this, I try to lift it. You probably can't see. I'm trying to lift it right now. My muscles are straining because they're like locked in, pushing to try and do something that they can't really do. Oh, that's just
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
And I have one too.
Yes, go for
Do you have any tips for for mucus buildup?
Yeah,
if it
mucus
builds up
buildup.
more,
So we're going to
sure.
go over Softies a little bit later. Semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. They're going to be our warm-up. If you're having excessive mucus, Softies will help that big time. So the warm-up that we're going to do shortly is going to help you with that. Boo, 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 boo.
Someone in the text chat for Trans Academy is asking if there's a recommendation on how often to continue drinking water, like every 30 minutes or some other interval.
Okie dokie. I don't know why I'm not seeing that, but thank you. Oh yeah, I do see that now.
It's okay.
Yes, thank you for that. And also, for everybody, if I do miss a question, please do let me know. Because I don't want to like miss anybody. You got not seen? No, I just hadn't seen you yet. Yeah, is there a rule about drinking water like every 30 minutes? Just like not really. Just kind of listen to your body. If in doubt, drink more. I use a bottle that has markers on it. I think this has me drinking like, if it's 2 liters and it's broken into our segments, then it must be like, what, like 200 mil, 100 mil an hour, something like that. There is a maximum that your body can absorb, and I don't remember what it is. I don't know, 2.5 liters through the day, chop that up so that works as like relatively evenly spread, and that is going to be like relatively optimal. Or if you want to be crazy, go for like 3 liters. Sidhesh, thank you. Hello, thank you for joining us in the YouTube chat. My speech is all over the place. Hello, welcome, welcome. We don't often get people on the YouTube. I told you guys, I am tired today. I cannot talk. I usually get through about 2 of these a day. So that's about 4 liters. Any other questions about maintaining your vocal health?
I like getting loud sometimes. Is that fine?
What was that, sorry?
I like getting loud sometimes. Is that fine?
Yeah, so long as you're not experiencing any pain or discomfort during that, then yeah, that's totally fine. Nebulizers, I don't know what they are. Saline mist to hydrate vocal folds. That sounds like it's probably some snake oil stuff. I don't understand how a saline mist could... You can't directly hydrate your vocal folds. Unless you have like some crazy tube that you're sticking down you. Like your vocal folds are here. So ain't no way you're spraying them. And when you swallow, you close off all of the larynx. So I don't know how you would possibly hydrate the vocal folds themselves. Humidifier might work? Nah. I don't know how you could possibly spray the vocal folds. And I feel like they'd get super irritated if you did that. Best bet, just drink water. Is a way to aerosolize medicine for inhalation. Oh, I see. You inhale it. Oh. Oh, in that case, maybe it would work. I haven't looked into that at all. If you're inhaling it, then maybe it would work. I have not looked into any research on that though, so I'm not going to make any comment on that. I will say theoretically possible, but I have not looked into it.
This mentions about keeping relaxed and avoiding straining, but are there like good ways to relax the voice? Because at least to me it feels like the permanent straining.
Yeah, so the softies will help. They'll help you relax. The way we do our particular softies kind of force you to be relaxed in order to successfully do them. All caught up? Yay, good stuff. Yeah, so it's going to be a mixture of like just intentionally relaxing. If you have a particular muscle that is tensing, then you can try and relax that muscle or try to get it busy doing something else. So when I was first learning to raise my larynx, which we'll talk about later, something that I was accidentally doing at the same time was I was tensing up the back of my neck. It's not related muscles at all. I was just habitually doing it. And the way I learned to not do that was gently rolling my neck. Basically, the muscles were just busy doing something else, so they couldn't tense up. Things like that can help you. So just either just consciously make yourself relax, do softies, that can help, and occupy the muscles with something else, whatever else it would be. You could also like massage your particular muscles that are tensing up. And you could also, there is something called a laryngeal massage. Look it up on YouTube. That could also help as well. What's the target audience for this particular workshop? Anybody that wants to learn masculinization, feminization, androgenization. We go through the entire process, start to finish. So wherever you are at in that process, there'll be something for you. So it's for everyone, basically. All right, let's keep going. I am caught up with everybody's questions. If you do get more questions about this, just, you can still let me know. That's totally fine. So how does a voice actually work? That little drawing there is called the power source filter model. It's a very simplified model to just give you, a brief rundown of how all of this works. It is oversimplified intentionally. For your purposes, it'll be totally fine. So the idea behind this model is, I want you to imagine your lungs, okay, the air inside your lungs is like the fuel of your voice. So you breathe out, the air comes up through your vocal tract, okay? In your vocal tract, it intersects with your vocal folds, and your vocal folds then apply sound to that air, okay? So air pressure comes up, intersects with vocal folds, they chop up that air and get it vibrating, applying sound, okay? We call this the source, so it's now the source of sound. We have sound happening. That sound then bounces around, resonating through the rest of your vocal tract, and we call that the filter because it will change the sound into another kind of a sound. So instead of just hearing pure notes, you instead hear words, and those words can be different, and all sorts of different modifications. So yeah, that is the very basics of how your voice works. Boo, 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 boo. And you can see a little gif there of the sound bouncing around, so you can see all the different cavities it bounces around in. So your nasal cavity, your oral cavity, your larynx, the whole lot. All of these things are manipulating how it sounds. Okay, so what does testosterone do to all this? So first little thing is that estrogen does nothing to your voice. It has zero effect on your vocal tract. Testosterone, however, does have effects, and these effects are permanent. So unless you got surgery, I suppose. And even surgeries, we don't have surgeries to fix or to change each of these individual things. Does estrogen, it has no effect on your voice at all. Estrogen does nothing to your voice. Literally nothing whatsoever. Inflection also is all behavioral. So yeah. Boo, 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 boo. Okay, so things that testosterone do. it will thicken your vocal folds so that as they are opening and closing really quickly and applying sound to your voice, it will be, because they're a bit thicker, you're going to get a bit more closure coming in. I'll talk about that a bit more in detail when we get to that section. Basically, it's going to make your voice sound a little bit buzzier, okay? So if I was to emulate my vocal folds thickening right now, it would start to sound a little bit more like this. So you can hear that buzz coming into my voice. This is what it would sound like if I just thickened up my vocal folds right now without changing any behavior. Okay, so that's what vocal fold thickening does. Testosterone also lengthens your vocal folds. This is going to make, it's going to give you access to a lower pitch range. Pitch, I will quickly note that it doesn't, because pitch is something that's dynamic, we move our pitch around as we speak. People don't tend to gender pitch very much because every dude goes up in pitch sometimes and every woman goes down in pitch sometimes. So we don't really gender it that strongly. Last thing is your larynx. Some people call it the voice box. It's a bunch of cartilage around your vocal folds. That also expands and lengthens. Some people talk about like your voice dropping. That's what they're talking about. Your larynx lengthening, which darkens the sound. If I was to emulate testosterone affecting my vocal tract right now, and I made my larynx go larger, it would start to sound more like this, okay? So this is what it sounds like when your larynx starts to lengthen, all right? So if I put all of those changes together, we have our vocal fold thickening, our vocal fold lengthening, and our larynx lengthening all produce this sort of a sound, okay? So if we want to reverse all of that, then we start to reduce our buzziness that's in our voice by different behaviors, and we also change our larynx positioning to make it a little bit of a smaller area, and now I have a more feminine voice. If you wanted to, you could change your pitch a little bit. Again, doesn't really affect things that much. Boo. Just realized your message didn't send. You wanted to ask tips for people with allergies. Do lots of warm-ups, but also if you're experiencing bad allergies right now, take a little break. As you get better with your control of your voice, it will affect you less. But allergies is allergies. You can't get rid of it. Speak to your doctor if it is a particular problem. But the softies will help when we get to that section. Okay, you guys ask your questions about how voice works and testosterone exposure. I'm going to pop to the toilet real quick. I'll be right back. Hello. I feel like I'm talking really quick today, by the way. So if anybody feels like they're getting left behind or missing stuff, just let me know and ask any questions you have along the way. Because I really don't want anyone getting left behind. That's just really important to me. So make sure you do ask as many questions as you come up with. You don't personally move your larynx when talking? Yes, so normally we don't move our larynx when we're talking. Normally we don't change our vocal fold mass that's engaging with phonation during talking. Those things are pretty static. That's why we gender them so strongly. Some surgeries can address voice for feminization direction, at least, kind of. So currently there are no there's no surgeries that address the larynx size. So the most you can get is a surgery that will bring you closer to here. They can also increase your pitch a bit, so you might get something that brings you over to here, but this still isn't sounding like this. So no matter what, even if you get surgery, you will still need to do some voice training. You mentioned it took 8 months to get to this level. Yes, I did. For how long did I practice every day? So in terms of practice, I would say you should aim to do, it doesn't matter how long you spend on each practice. What is important is practicing often. So if you can practice like 2, 3, 4 times a day for like a couple of minutes, that's amazing. But if you do like one practice a day and it's like an hour long, that sucks. What we're wanting is regular repetitions, okay? So do a bit of voice training, take a break, do a bit more voice training, take a break, and repeat. That's going to be the best way to learn, because the idea is you're coming back to it and reinforcing that behavior after you've already dropped the behavior. I practiced at least twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, sometimes more. Because I would practice whenever I walked my dog. If you're struggling with practice, by the way, and just getting routine in, try and find other things that you do already as a routine and just add it onto that. It's very difficult starting a new routine. It's much easier to just make an addition to an already established routine. So try that. How do I measure how much to move your larynx? You've been focusing on larynx height with your training and you went too high with it way too strained. You think you've been picking up poor habits with raising it too high. Okay, I'm going to save that question for when we do the larynx height section, because I think I can address a lot of that in that section. So remind me when we get there to go over that question, okay? Because I think that will be it'll be useful for me to use your question to help me go over that. Do remind me though, make sure I don't forget, okay? That's your job. Make sure I do not forget to address your question. You don't have time to practice every day. Does it make any sense to practice something like one time a week? Not really. You do need to be practicing every day. And you definitely do have time to practice every day. You are not considering what practice can be. If you spend like a minute just while you're driving or while you're doing something else, that counts, okay? Think about times when you're doing something that doesn't require your voice. If it doesn't require your voice, you can be training during that time. Whether you're driving, whether you're walking somewhere, whether you're washing the dishes, whether you're cooking, ain't no way that you don't have like a few minutes spread about the day. Just looking at the see people are typing in chat, so I am waiting to see what they have to say. Excuse me. Oh, never mind. Stop typing. Okie dokie. So let's go on to our next section. Okay, what do we do about all of this? I've told you how voice works. I've told you what testosterone does to it, and the fact that estrogen doesn't do anything. So what do we do? What do we do with this information? Let's go into gender affirming voice stuff. So, firstly, I've mentioned SOV-Ts a few times. These are our warm-up. SOV-Ts, or semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. It's a big, heckin' huge words. Don't worry, it's actually really simple. So, follow along in this explanation. It's a lot of big words, but actually, it's really simple. So, essentially, you remember I talked about our power source filter model? Think about that power. All right, that air pressure coming up through your vocal tract. If you imagine all of that air coming through and passing through your vocal folds, that's a lot of air pressure that your vocal folds are under, okay? Because all of that air is pushing through them, all right? So that's just a lot of air pressure. We call that subglottal pressure. All it means is just air pressure below the vocal folds, okay? So this means that if we were to try to do some stretches, your stretches are happening while the muscles are under a lot of pressure, which is just going to be a bit less comfy. So we can, what can we do about that? Semi-occluded means partially closed, okay? So semi-occluded vocal tract exercise means partially closed vocal tract exercise. So we have a partial closure somewhere in the front of our vocal tract, like our mouths. This then creates pressure pushing back down our vocal tract, okay? We call this supraglottal pressure, or pressure above vocal folds. So we now have our supraglottal pressure, our above vocal fold pressure, and our subglottal pressure, our below the vocal fold pressure. These two pressures are going against each other and cancel each other out. Okay. Now you're not going to have as much supraglottal as subglottal, otherwise you would stop making any sound. You do need air going upwards. But by having that extra pressure up here, we can reduce the pressure on our vocal folds, so we can stretch them out and they're not going to be under as much pressure. Okay, so how do we do this? There are loads of ways to do softies. Screen off. I don't think there's an issue on my end. Transvoice, are you guys seeing everything? You guys can see?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. Yo, Kurobo, you made it. Glad to see you here. I'm sure I did see you talking earlier, but I just like extra noticed you. Boo. So yeah, a few ways we can do this. All we're doing is basically creating that partial blockage. So there's loads of ways we can do it, but some ways are better than others because some will produce more pressure than others will. So really good ones and really convenient ones are going to be our lip trills. That's one of the best ones. We have our tongue trills. Not quite as good, but still decent. We can do a blowing a raspberry sound. Okay. We could do the letter V. What other ones are good ones? Those are going to be the main good ones. Less good ones are going to be like an M. That's just humming. An N is less good. Yeah, they don't produce nearly as much pressure. So stick to your lip trills, your tongue trills, blowing raspberries, or the letter V. Within those, you'll be able to do one of them, I'm sure. The other absolute best one is called the bubble phonation. My straw. Okay, bubble phonations are the best softy because they create the most pressure. What you need is a straw and something containing water. I recommend a bottle because you will do lots of splashing during this. Even with a bottle, I'm still going to splash. But yeah, a glass you're going to splash way more. You want to go about that far in, about an inch in. You'll be able to feel the pressure as you start blowing. You want enough pressure that you feel some resistance, but not so much pressure that it becomes difficult. Okay? It'll sound like this. Okay? Now, for today's workshop, that's not going to be the one that I go for, simply because I have quite a lot of water in my bottle. I'm going to make a mess if I do that. I don't want to make a mess on my desk. So that one is the best one. However, hang on. There we go. Yeah, bubble phonations are the best one. However, they have the big downside of being inconvenient. You need a bottle with you, you need water, you need a straw, you need to be in a situation where it's not going to be like making a huge mess. It's just very inconvenient. So if you can, do bubble phonations. But if the situation doesn't allow for it, go for one of the others. They're totally fine. Yeah, so go for any of the others if you need to. It's totally fine. Does anybody have any questions about your softies? If not, we'll do some together.
For the V1, I just go up in pitch and then down.
Yes, yeah, sorry, I should have gone over that. So when you're doing your softies, what I want you to do is we're going to just move our pitch slowly and get more and more and more and more, okay? So we're going to move up and down a little bit, and then up and down some more, and then some more, and then some more, until eventually we hit the limits of our pitch range, okay? So we're just like slowly spreading out a little bit. So you got a bit lost. What do these help you with? So these are a warm-up. They'll increase blood flow to the vocal tract. They'll also allow your vocal folds to stretch out a whole bunch without being under too much pressure. They will help with hydration because by increasing the blood flow to the vocal tract, they will have your cilia. These are like little they're kind of like little hairs in your vocal tract, and they help to like push anything that's clogging up your vocal tract, like excess mucus or dust, whatever. They push it up so that eventually you, I'm sorry it's gross, but you do swallow it. So that'll help with that. If you have morning voice, then by getting those cilia going, morning voice is caused by a buildup of mucus overnight because you're not swallowing, and a buildup of dust in that mucus. So by getting your cilia moving again, you clear out the vocal tract, and that will get rid of your morning voice. But yeah, outside of that, it's a warm-up. Also, if you are just feeling mucusy, then they can help with that. If you've experienced a vocal injury, they can help you for recovery. They are just kind of goated. They do all sorts of good things. And they are really good for helping you to build good vocal habits. Like not using too much pressure for your vocal folds. Can it help form mucus? Can it help with mucus from allergies? Yes, but it will only be a temporary solution because ultimately your allergies are making you produce mucus. So they'll help you clear out what's there, but like that will come back again. So it'll give you a temporary relief. And I don't know how long that'll last for you because that's going to super depend on the person and the allergies. So, an amount of time. Okie dokie. All right. If it all makes sense to everybody, then let's do some subtleties together. So, if you'd like to participate, then everybody unmute. And we're going to do some, you can do whichever one you want to. I'm going to do lip trills. And we're just going to start moving in our pitch, okay? If you're unsure, just copy me, all right? All right, 3, 2, 1, all together now. You guys can join in for this, by the way. Right, and then everybody go to the absolute maximum range. Great, well done everybody. Well done. Alright, I love that. Okay, everyone mute again. That is some good shit. Metatech, hi, thanks for joining. Be careful, look at water poisoning. Water poisoning isn't an issue unless you drink like a huge amount in a short space of time. So if you drink like 8 liters of water, like just necking it one after another, then that's going to mess you up. But yeah, I mean, you're going to have to like be drinking so much that it hurts to get water poisoning. Hyponatremia. Mm-hmm. Did you know, what's he called? That, I don't remember what he's called. He's one of the kids in the Minecraft YouTube place. One of those had hyponatremia because he downed 6 liters of water, or 8 liters of water in one go. Had to get pumped with saline. Tommy in it? I think that's who it was. Do I do private lessons? Where can you find pricing? Yes, I do. If you want to join the Discord, let's do some plugs. If you want stuff from me, including private lessons, head over to my Discord. There's a link below me somewhere. It's one of these two. I think it's this one. That might be YouTube. One of these two is a link to private to the Discord. So if you join my Discord over there, as of like yesterday, I'm now taking private lessons, or like the proper ones. So I charge £20 for a private lesson. It's the cheapest, at least that I've been able to find. There's no one doing cheaper than me. So yeah, private lessons over there. I do also do public shadow ball lessons if you don't care about them being private and you're down for other people to audit them. And those I've got for free at the moment. All of these pricings are temporary. Eventually, I will have to start charging for the public lessons and charging more for the private lessons. But right now, I can just about afford to do it nice and cheap like this. So yeah, it's not sustainable and it will go up eventually. But for right now, that's where it's at. So yeah, head over to the Discord for all the information there. You want to go to the one-on-one lessons channel to get that going. Is that Ashley's? No, it's not. Ashley has her own server. Trans Network is my server. I don't know Ashley. That would be really cool if I knew Ashley, but I don't. I assume you mean Neki. But yo, if you know Ashley, frickin' get me that connection. God damn, that'd be crazy. Yeah, if if noise is a problem for your practice, I would say, like you're talking about needing to do them at work, try like just popping to the bathroom or something, you know, and do it there. Oh, Ashley Adamson. I don't know who that is. I have no idea who Ashley Adamson is. Yeah, if you are struggling with places to do your softies, cars are a really good place. If you just like pop to your car for a minute, then that's going to be a really good place. Because cars have really good noise insulation because you have like radios and stuff. So recommend that, even if it's not like on. In fact, better if it's not on. You can also, it sounds silly, but like you can do your softies into a pillow. That'll help muffle the sound. You know, pop outside for a moment, whatever. Yeah. In terms of, so if you're brand new to voice training, I always put my students that are just starting, just for like a first week or so. Or so for us, it's in between our first few lessons. I get them just doing softies every day, several times a day, like this says, for a minimum of about 30 seconds. Really, I want you closer to like a minute or two. But like what we've just done now is perfect. So, yeah. So yeah, if you're brand new to voice work, whether you're masculizing, feminizing, whatever you're doing, start here. It's not going to change your voice at all. It's just going to build good vocal habits. It'll help you start building your vocal routine in terms of practice. And it's going to make sure that everything is nice and healthy before you get started. One needs to lower soft palate to feminize their voice? Nope, I'm afraid not. You've been trying to do it for a while, but you only managed to raise it so far. No, your soft palate has nothing to do with feminization. All lowering your soft palate will do is potentially making your voice a bit more nasally. There is this like weird thing of people saying that lowering your soft palate does all sorts of magical things. It's just part of opening up the nasal tract, the nasal cavity. So yeah, to make your voice nasally, you drop your soft palate, which gives the airway access to your nasal cavity, and then you raise your tongue to push that air through to your nose, and that's how it comes nasally. That's the only thing that your soft palate does. I think it plays a small role in swallowing as well. Okie dokie. All right, let's keep going. If there are no other questions, any tips for that? If you're practicing using music, just like combine the drills with the singing somehow. The drills that we do are probably quite difficult to have paired in with singing if you're trying to like be subtle, but there might be ways you can get around it. Do I recommend mimicking someone's voice while voice training? Only if that works for you, and for most people it doesn't. Mimicry is quite a difficult skill, and for most people you just don't have that like built in. So for some people that'll work. My methods don't rely on mimicry because I find it a bit more consistent if you don't rely on mimicry. But I will, some of my exercises that we'll do will briefly touch on some mimicry stuff, just on the off chance that somebody here is able to use that. Mimicry, for the people that works for, they tend to like learn really quickly. Just for most people, it's difficult. Yeah, so if you're good at mimicry, then by all means, just make sure that when you do mimic stuff, mimic them individually. Like everything, don't just mimic a femme voice, because then you're not going to know how to edit that voice. And be careful with like accents and stuff getting involved. Okie dokie, so let's move forward to our first actual gendered thing. Vocal weight / glottal quotient. So I mentioned earlier that when the vocal tract is exposed to testosterone, the vocal folds thicken. What that does, okay, is when you have your vocal folds closing and opening rapidly to produce that sound, that source of sound, okay, when they open and close, the way they can do that can vary a little bit. So we could have them going like open, closed, open, closed, open, closed, open, dot, dot, dot. Or they could be like closed, open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. And that will change the way your voice sounds. Now, by having a bit more vocal mass, they're going to spend more time closed than open. This is, by the way, this is an oversimplified version of things. There is way more to glottal quotient than just that. This is just a brief, for your purposes, it'll be totally fine. So yeah, obviously this is a huge oversimplification. But yeah, so this affects the sound, okay? If you have a more closed quotient, so you spend more time closed than open, then your voice is going to sound buzzier and heavier, okay? So to be able to refer to vocal weight, this is the same thing going on. I prefer to call it perceptual vocal weight because it's your perception of the sound, okay? It just sounds heavier. That's going to sound a little bit more like this. So if you can hear like a buzzing going on in my voice right now, that's that perceptual vocal weight, that more closed quotient. It is going to make me sound a bit louder, even when I'm not. I'll try to go as quiet as I can. This is me trying to be really quiet while having a more closed quotient. Right now I'm talking at a quieter volume than I was in the more open quotient, the lighter vocal weight, when it wasn't buzzy, but it might still sound louder to you. This is because a more closed quotient, a buzzier, heavier voice. I'm going back to how it was before now. Yeah, it's going to sound a lot more in your face. We as humans just pay attention a lot more to a buzzier voice. So it'll sound louder even if it isn't. But also, we tend to just go louder. In like when we normally use vocal weight in our normal lives, it's normally when we're shouting or something like that. So already going louder. So because of that, you're probably going to go louder when you do this. Just takes practice. Go through the drill. If you've gotten louder, then start reducing your volume until you hit a normal speaking volume. If you're masculizing, you're going for more closed quotient, heavier, buzzier voice. If you're feminizing, you're going for a lighter, less buzzy, open quotient voice. This is connected to pitch a little bit, in that if you go up in pitch, it's easier at an open quotient, a lighter vocal weight. And if you go down in pitch, eventually you will have to have a more closed quotient or a heavier vocal weight in order to produce those lower pitches. You just need that extra mass getting involved. So we can take advantage of that for my favorite of these exercises, the pitch sigh or the pitch slide down into grave. So if we are feminizing, okay, then we are going to do a pitch sigh. We're going to go up. We're going to start buzzy at a low pitch, okay? We're going to slide ourselves up, lightening as we go. You can go all the way up into falsetto, into M2 here. So long as you come out of it into normal talking by the end of it, we're going to go up, get that lightness from that high pitch, slide down and keep that lightness there as you bring it back down. If it's your first time doing this, you might need a little bit of an exploration to figure out how to do it. But once you get it, it'll make more sense, and then it's just practice. Okay? So that's going to sound like this. So I've got a much higher pitch now. I'll go again. So now I'm at that lower pitch while still having my lighter weight. Okay, I'm doing this in a more masculine kind of voice, so you can hear this as if it's your first thing. If you're in a more feminine kind of voice and you're doing this, it's going to sound like this. And now you've got back to your normal pitch while having that lighter vocal weight, okay? That open quotient. So if you're feminizing, that's going to be the best draw, okay? It doesn't require any mimicry. You just do the thing, and you, like, as you go up in pitch, you will find yourself leaning towards going lighter. If you aren't finding yourself going lighter, go higher in pitch and just keep on going. Eventually, you will find yourself getting lighter. So if it's not working, just go higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and just keep on going, okay? Eventually, it'll work. So if you're all down to unmute, if you want to take part in this, we're all going to do this together, okay? So everybody get yourselves unmuted if you want to join in. Oh my gosh, do we have nobody unmuting? No way.
All right.
All right, I'll do it.
Hey, that's what I want to hear. Good shit. Okay, we're all going to do this together, all right? I'm going to do it at the same time, so if you're struggling, just copy me, okay? Low pitch, heavy weight, slide up and get that lighter pitch from the higher, that lighter weight from the higher pitch, and then drag that lighter weight back down into your bass pitch, okay? All right. Very nice. Well done. Well done. Okay, so that's going to be your drill, okay? If you're new to it, have a play around with it and figure it out. Eventually, you'll find yourself getting it as I've done it there. Again, it doesn't matter if you sound like this. And then your bass talking sounds like this. This is still you doing the draw correctly, okay? This is just, we haven't done the other parts. We haven't done the larynx stuff yet, okay? So in the next bit, we'll then address that to bring you to this kind of voice, okay? So everybody that participated, thank you and well done. You did a great job. Common thing for this gets conflated with, some people will go a little bit breathy once they hit that higher pitch. It sounds like this. And then they start talking like this, where they, in fact, I'll bring things down. And then they start talking like this, where they're going really, really breathy in their voice. You can hear that extra turbulence in my voice, and I'm having to breathe in more often because I'm literally breathing out more as I'm talking. So that's breathiness. It's a different thing. So watch out for that, that you don't go breathy. Do we have any masculizers around? Yeah, YouTube doesn't have a mic input.
Yep.
If you want to participate in the YouTubes, if you want to participate in the different drills, head over to the Discord and you'll be able to participate. Yeah, did I hear that we do have a masculizer?
Yep.
Heck yes, I'd love to hear it. Okay, so if you're masculizing, we're going to do the other version of this drill. Okay, so instead of going up, we're going to go down, all right? And as we slide down, we won't even need to like actively do anything about our weight, because as we go down, eventually we'll be forced into a heavier weight, okay? So we're going to slide all the way down, and you'll find as you go low enough, your voice is going to get weird. It'll get sludgy, crackly. You'll hear when I do the demo, it just gets weird, okay? That weird bit is called the grave extension, okay? It's just an extension to your pitch that allows you to go really freaking low pitch, and it forces you to get a really heavy, really closed quotient, okay? People often find a little bit of vocal fry there as well. So we're going to do that. We're going to go all the way down into grave. We're going to find that vocal weight in there, and we're going to drag it back up to our normal speaking pitch. It'll sound like this. And I'll try to keep this as feminine as possible to make sure that you can hear with me just doing this one adjustment, starting from where I am right now. So now you can hear that buzziness is still in my voice, and I brought that up from that grave area, okay? So again, And now I have that heaviness in my voice, okay? So that's the idea of that drill. Now you will notice in my voice, there's a lot of frying there, a lot of crackling. That's just another thing that's in Grave. If it comes with you, that's fine. While you're learning this, I don't mind your fry coming with you as well. Eventually, as you get much better, you can work to remove that fry. But for now, by all means, keep it. It's totally fine. Just while you're learning. Okay, so if we can all together do this, whether you're feminizing or masculizing, so that our one masculine doesn't feel weird, we'll all do it together. And yeah, let's give it a go. So follow me. One, two, three, four. Okay, great. Well done, everybody. So yeah, there's going to be our masculizing version. This is going to give you a heavier, buzzier voice. Okay. Now, for a few other exercises we can use, these all, to some degree, rely on some mimicry and some like shared, like cultural understanding, I suppose. So this may work for you, and it may not work for you. Give them a go. The pitch ones work for everybody. But I like to mention these because if they do work for you, they might work for you a bit quicker than the pitch ones. Especially the sliding down to Grave one, people tend to struggle with that a bit more.
I'm just popping in a bit late. Don't know how long you've been here for, but I'm here. Sorry.
Yeah, we're a little bit in right now, so you have missed a little chunk. I would recommend if you head over to the YouTube, youtube.com/@trans_network. We are streaming live, so if you like watch from there but speed it up, then eventually you'll catch up to us and you'll be live again. It means you don't have to miss anything. If you are doing that, then please make sure you set the speed to normal during demonstrations, just so you can hear it as it's meant to be heard. But apart from that, by all means, speed it up as much as works for you.
Just at Trans Network?
youtube.com/@trans_network. If you just type into YouTube Trans Network, I pop up straight away. It'll have the logo, which I think is somewhere on my screen. No, the logo's not on my screen. It's like a circle with Trans Network written underneath and like a mic thing with Trans flag in the background. I should put that on my screen somewhere. Why is that not on my screen? We'll do that in the future.
Oh my gosh. It's been going for an hour. I'll watch it all the way
I know,
now.
it's crazy,
I'll
right?
start here and
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
I'll watch the first hour. Let it go. Working
No worries.
opposite.
Okay, so to go on to our other drills. So there is also, we can imagine we have a little baby in our arms, and we're going to coo of a baby, okay? Cute baby, cute baby. It's sleeping, so you don't want to make any sudden sounds. You want to be really gentle and really light with it, okay? Or if I was to bring things back into my masculine, it will sound like this. Oh, cute baby, okay? Nice and gentle, nice and light, okay? And then I want you to imagine that baby's just thrown up on you. Gross, baby. Gross, that's so gross. Okay? Those are going to be your two different sounds, okay? The versus the okay? One's going to be light, one's going to be heavy. If I was to bring things into a more masculine setting, or masculine starting setting, it would be more like this. So, okay, there are sounds that we're comparing. Okay, another one we could do, if that doesn't vibe with you, is the ASMR voice, the sports announcer. So if you've ever listened to like a softly spoken ASMR kind of thing, then they kind of talk a little bit more like this. It's very, very gentle, very, very softly spoken. They have like an ultra light vocal weight, an ultra open quotient. Okay, so we can have this for that end, and then at the other end we can have like a sports announcer. Oh my gosh, sports ball, strike, all of those things to do with sports. If you're struggling with like what that sounds like, because none of us freaking know anything about sports, go for the Wii Sports dude. I haven't played Wii Sports in ages. What does he even say? strike, batter out, nice shot, all of those kinds of things. They're all much buzzier, much heavier. Okay, so you can give those a go if you want. If you're really struggling, just for the feminizers, if you're really struggling with vocal weight, you can. This isn't a great exercise, but it can be used. It's just a little bit rigid. But we can use the yawn voice, so we literally just give. We give a really big yawn. Okay, so you give a big yawn, and then you just continue to talk in your yawning voice. Okay, by talking in our yawning voice, we force ourselves into a light vocal weight. We also force ourselves to have this like hollow sound to us, so it's not great because it's not very like maneuverable. It forces us into one space, but that space is a lighter vocal weight. So you might want to experiment with that if you're really struggling with everything we've gone over. Okay. So, any questions in the chats about vocal weight stuff or open quotient and closed quotient? Any questions whatsoever?
What's yeah, I have a question, I guess. So like, what's the point of it? Because it just seemed really low pitch. So it was like, I'm not going to do it because it would make me dysphoric.
Yeah, sure. So the yawn voice is going to give us that open quotient, that lighter vocal weight. If you've missed why that's relevant, then you'll need to scroll or rewind early in the workshop. We went over all of what testosterone does to the vocal tract and what we do about that. So this is like an exercise of fixing those things. Well, I shouldn't say fixing, but changing those things.
I know what you mean. Yeah, it's it's the fem voice, but not like super high pitched. Yeah, like how I'm doing. It's more like that gives you more range, right?
So this is just lightening our vocal voice. So it's removing that buzziness that is more characteristic of a masculine voice. So when our vocal tract is exposed to testosterone, one of the things is it gets a lot buzzier. So this is just to manipulate that. So if you're masculizing, you can emulate having that buzziness. If you're feminizing, you can emulate not having that buzziness.
Okay, yeah, just
no worries.
just pretend that you're yawning and talk like that. Yeah, but also like a baby
to the
that threw up.
first jaw we did, that's going to be your best one though. The pitch side or pitch slide down into grave.
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Any other questions, anybody? Yes, in Trans Network, I'm afraid you can't link anything unless you've been there for more than 20 minutes. But Halo did link the live stream, so anybody that needs it can watch from there. Also, yeah, it's a little bit hard for me to be linking things in chat and putting things in chat. So if anybody is looking for the link and struggles to find it, one, you can just click on my user, like on the profile, and there should be links to both the Discord and the live stream, the YouTube and the Discord. So you can use that, or if you just ask somebody else to link it, I'm sure they'll be able to figure it out for you. It's just a little bit, I've got too much on my screen to also grab links for you. So yeah, grab links for each other, that's super helpful.
Okay.
Is pitch tied to resonance? No, it's not. We'll cover that more when we go into the larynx section, but that's next. Any other questions from any of the chats? No questions. Okie dokie. Well, I hope that means that it made total sense to everybody. If you're lost, then you either need to rewind or you need to ask a question. So, next section then. So we talked about vocal weight, that buzziness, okay? The effect of that increased vocal fold mass. Now we're going to talk about that larynx stuff, okay? So I mentioned earlier how testosterone exposure will increase the size of your larynx. So to undo that, or to emulate having had that, we're going to manipulate the shape of our larynx. So firstly, I mentioned earlier that when you have a sound, when we produce a sound that then resonates through our vocal tract, and that filters the sound a little bit, okay, in that power source filter model. So this is basically what it sounds like when we manipulate the size of a chamber that sound is resonating through. So I'm going to tap on my ukulele. That tapping is producing the sound, and then that sound's being filtered as it reverberates through and resonates through the chamber. Now listen to what happens if all I do is just increase the size of that chamber. Okay? You can hear it's a much, much darker sound. All right? The same thing is happening in your vocal tract when your larynx gets bigger. Okay? So when you have that increased testosterone, your larynx gets bigger, we have that darkening of the voice. We can super hear that. Yeah, so that's the thing. We can manipulate this because we can actually raise our larynx up, shrinking the space, okay, which will then brighten it again. Or if you're trying to masculize, we can lower the larynx, and that's going to darken the sound, okay? We can see and hear this because I can do that same thing with my own larynx. So this like bulge here, that's the larynx, okay? The Adam's apple is the laryngeal prominence. It's just part of the larynx at the front, part of the thyroid cartilage. So you can see, first of all, it's raised right now. I can lower it down over here, okay? Listen to what happens if I move it around. Okay, so that's that same thing. We started with that like darker guitar sound, and we brightened up to that ukulele sound, all right? So we can do this with our voice to make it sound like we either have been exposed to more testosterone or have not been exposed to testosterone, just by raising our larynx or lowering our larynx. So how do we actually do this? There's a few really useful exercises for this. First exercise I like for just introducing this is Big Dog, Little Dog. So Big Dog, Little Dog is essentially, I want you to pant like you're a really big dog, okay? And then I want you to try pant like you're a really small dog. You'll notice that your larynx has moved up when you do that. If I then produce a sound on each of those, you'll hear the difference, okay? Oh, I have a much lowered larynx right now. I'm emulating a lot of testosterone exposure. And now I have a raised larynx. I'm emulating having no testosterone exposure. Okay, so that's the sound difference produced by moving our larynx around. All right. So if everybody wants to unmute, give a go at this little drill. Okay, we're going to start off pant like you're a really big dog. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Very good. Now pant like you're a smaller dog. Okay, back to big dog, and we're going to do a phonation test at the end. Very good. And now small dog, and we're going to do a phonation test at the end. All right, good job, everybody. Okay, you can remute again. So that's what we're going to be practicing, okay? You'll need to practice that a whole bunch. If you're brand new to that, you probably didn't manage to get a huge movement, but as you keep practicing, you'll get better and better. Now, what we can also do, okay, that's a really good introduction. I like to take it a step further, because one thing some people do is they'll manipulate their oral space, okay, instead of their laryngeal space. Your vocal tract is sort of split into really two main chambers. You've got your larynx and you've got your mouth, okay? So if we move our mouth too much, we can kind of brighten the sound a little bit, instead of by doing it from our larynx. The problem with that is, one, our oral space is busy with words. Your tongue's moving all over the place and manipulating that space a whole ton to make the different words. And also we just can't brighten that much by using our mouths. So to make sure we're using our larynx and moving our larynx, we stay on a word, okay? A simple short word with a vowel in the middle. We're wanting to make sure that vowel doesn't get corrupted, okay? So if we start you with the word cheese, okay? Cheese, 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 cheese. It's the same concept as that big dog, little dog, okay? We're going from down to higher up, okay? But we're doing it with the word cheese, okay? Cheese, 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 cheese. Cheese. Cheese, 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 cheese. Cheese. Okay? We can use any short word for that, like pot. Make sure your pot doesn't become a pat. You could use I don't know, tut. Okay, just make sure it stays the same vowel in the middle. Okay, so it doesn't become a different word. Your tut doesn't become a tat, whatever it is, stays on the same word. Okay, so I recommend start off with big dog, little dog just to explore an initial movement, and then moved on to a whispered vowel or whispered short word to make sure that you are only moving your larynx. Okay, and make sure that word stays the exact same as you move up and down. Yeah. A little bit about these exercises and the reason they work. So when we're doing this exercise, we're whispering, you'll have noticed, okay? When I'm doing my tuts, I'm whispering, okay? Those pants, they're effectively a whisper, okay? The reason that we are whispering is because when you whisper, your vocal folds aren't closing, right? Because they don't close, we don't have that closed, open, closed, open, closed, open, closed. We aren't applying sound. We aren't applying pitch using our vocal folds. Now, technically, there is some pitch there, but for our purposes, let's pretend that there isn't, because that pitch isn't being produced by our vocal folds. All right? So, very useful. This means we're not going to be conflating anything with pitch. The only thing that can be moving is our larynx, is our resonance, our vocal tract size. Okay. Boo, 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 boo. Yeah. So whenever you whisper, if it sounds like you're going higher up, it's just your vocal tract size that's changing. It's not actually going up in pitch. So like if I go put, pat, 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 pitch didn't change there because there wasn't any pitch. Instead, my vocal tract size changed. Specifically, my larynx moved up. That's what you want to be going for, all right? So, a very good demonstration that this is not pitch. I'll do that again. I'm not going to whisper because I know how to do it with not whispering, so you can hear the difference. I'm going to keep I'm going to keep my pitch the exact same. Put, 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 put. Put, 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 pat, 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 put. Okay, my pitch stayed the same. All right. If I move pitch, but I don't move my larynx, my vocal tract size doesn't change. It will sound like this: pat, 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 pat. Okay, you can do a little tune. Ba da ba ba da ba ba. That was all pitch moving. Okay, but if I go like the pitch didn't move in that one. All right. So that's a really key thing. Is pitch. Is your larynx moving. All right. This is often referred to as vocal tract size. We've been over why. It's referred to as resonance because we're referring to the sound resonating through your vocal tract. It's also referred to as larynx height because it's your larynx that's moving. Any of those terms are totally fine. If you're saying size, I prefer you to say vocal tract size. If you're saying resonance, I prefer you to say laryngeal resonance because it's just a bit more specific. You cannot figure this out for some reason. Ask questions then. It sounds like you have questions that you need to be asking. So if you do the big dog, little dog, what happens? If you do the whispered vowel words, what happens? So if you go like cheese, 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 cheese.
I feel like I just start changing my pitch when I try to do it.
Yeah, so that's why we use the
you're
whisper.
doing.
Okay, so start in that whisper because then pitch can't change. All right.
Okay.
Is it normal that you usually have the need to yawn, sometimes gag, while or after raising your larynx? Yawn, I don't know why you'd be yawning. That's probably just a weird behavior that you have. I can't think of something that would be causing that. The gagging could be caused by... So another thing we can change is your vocal tract is kind of like... I don't really have anything I can use to show you. I might just have to use my fingers. It's kind of in like an a weird kind of F shape. Okay, it's like an F shape with a tail or 2 legs or something. It's not really like an F shape at all. Essentially, you have your larynx, and that meets up with something called your pharynx. Okay, your pharynx is for air, but it's also for food and stuff. Okay, normally when you eat, your larynx closes so that you can swallow food down without it going through your airways. Okay, but in terms of arriving to your mouth, your larynx connects to your pharynx, and then from your pharynx into your mouth. Okay, into your nose. So one of the things we can change is our pharynx size, okay, instead of our larynx size. This is useful. It's called OPC, oropharyngeal closure. It is one thing. However, your larynx is way more important than OPC, okay? So what you might be doing if you're gagging is you're not moving your larynx, you're instead moving your oropharynx. That's that tightness at the back of your throat. If you're starting to gag, my suspicion is you've got so much OPC that it's like it's closing so much that you're struggling to breathe. And you're like gagging a little bit. That would be my guess. It could be all kinds of other things though. We'd have to have a one-on-one to really get an idea of that. Like you could be doing some weird tongue stuff as well. I'm not sure, and that could be causing you to gag. There's lots of things you could be doing in theory. My suspicion is OPC though. Try making sure that when you do your whispered vowel, stay on the same word. Okay. So if you're starting on cheese, end on cheese, okay? Don't let that distort at all. Or if you're starting on pot, end on pot. Don't let that distort at all, okay? And that should help you. Okie dokie. All right, any other questions about size, resonance, larynx height sort of stuff? This is probably the hardest of the skills we're going to learn. So, like, you should have questions. But 2, like, don't beat yourself up if you struggle with this. This, I could pretty much already control my weight off the bat because it just so happens that the way I spoke to my dog was by going, like, super lightweight, open quotient. So I'd already learned to do with that just by talking to my dog. So it took me almost a full 8 months just to do this larynx height stuff. So it is difficult, and it's okay if you struggle.
I have a question about strain.
Yeah, go for it.
So, well, I'm not sure how to ask it, I guess.
I tell you what, actually, I'm going to pause
like
you real
if
quick.
if it feels like you're
Pause.
straining quite...
Hang on. Pause.
Yeah?
Pause. I need to go to the toilet real quick. So hold on to your question. You can think about how you're going to word it. I need to go to the toilet though. I'll be right back, okay?
Yeah, that was I'm good at doing the but trying to do that while saying cheese was like really straining my throat. It was like cutting out. I was like, I physically can't do it. I'm trying to like cheat it. Cheese, 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 cheese. You can hear it cracking up and like it hurts. It actually hurts. I think that's just an intense, really difficult one. It's like stage 2 advanced. Huh.
Hello. Questions or conversations while I'm peeing?
Welcome back.
Okay, questions or conversations. Okay, person who had their question about strain. What was your question?
Yeah, so what would be, I guess, a safe way to train this? Because to me it feels like just doing anything is just putting a lot of strain on the back of the throat, or is that
things to think about.
Pharynx moving up?
Yeah, so check if your whispered vowels are too loud. That could cause a little bit of strain. So I don't want you going like pat, 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 pat. That's pretty strained. If you just go pat, 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 that's a lot better. Okay. for you, when you're just practicing to yourself, go like as quiet as you can while still being able to hear it. That'll be like minimal strain going on, depending on what it is that's straining. We can also think about like have a little check-in with yourself. Where are you actually feeling this strain? What muscle is it that's straining? Is it even connected to talking? So as I mentioned right at the start, when I was first learning this, I was training the back of my neck. These are muscles that aren't even connected to your vocals in any way, shape or form. It was just a weird habit that I picked up. So try occupying those muscles, try massaging those muscles, any of that sort of thing. That might help. Softies will help. Softies generally help with all of these sorts of strain things. What else have we got? And making sure you stay on the same word, that will help as well. So try playing around with all of those different things and hopefully that will help. Any other questions? Yeah, it is super difficult, Halo. That's super valid. It is a difficult skill. Like I say, I mean, this took me 8 months, pretty much mostly just mastering this one bit. Or like 6 months mastering this bit and like a couple of months of just tweaking. Also, if you're extra super crazy struggling with this, one-on-one lessons help with that. Obviously, there's only so much I can do with you during the workshops. Hopefully, this will give people a decent like beginning step to start exploring some of this. But if you need to, everything gets faster and easier in lessons, obviously, because I can give you feedback. So by all means, just swing by and buy some lessons, and we can absolutely get through everything. Answering to that break time chat, yeah, you think saying cheese might help you? Good, good. Pretty sure you're moving something else too. Saying cheese, reducing size seems unexpectedly very difficult. Yeah, so you're probably moving something else as well. Cheese is a really good one for the feminizers because it forces you to already be doing like you might be changing your lips, might be doing stuff, you might be doing different mouth things. So by saying the word cheese, cheese forces you to maximize the feminine sounds of your inside your mouth and through your lips and stuff. So if you start with like a lower cheese, then you're forced to, like, the only thing left is your larynx. So you have to move your larynx up to be able to feminize the word cheese. The same would be the case if we go for like, what would be like a really good one? Like an what's a word with in the middle? Or like or. What's a word with or in the middle of it? Paw. The word paw, as in like a cat's paw. Okay? For our masculizers, use the word paw. So you'll start. That'll help you, again, to reduce conflating different things. It'll force you to use your larynx to go down. Any other questions about this topic? Again, this is like the biggest topic, so.
No, I don't have any questions, but I just want to say that really helped. Like,
Yeah,
that was
good.
for all of it, I didn't understand a word you were saying. I was trying to do it in the shower. I was trying everything. It hurt. It didn't work. And then at the end, when you were like, you're probably doing something weird with your mouth, and you're probably using the wrong muscles, and you just need to focus on just the and saying it with just the larynx up. Cheese, 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 like that.
Mm-hmm.
My larynx is still trying to go down.
Yeah,
And
so that's just
now
gonna
I
be a matter
know
of
I just need to say
practice.
each word, pretty much every word in the dictionary, over and over and over again, and not try and change and put too much pressure on myself.
Yeah, so what I would suggest for practice is instead of going over rehearsed words, do your drill and then just talk, just off the top of the head. You can tell yourself about your day. You could like answer a question out loud. You could tell yourself what you've been doing that day or what your plans are for the day, just for 2 versions of that, depending on the time of the day. You can explain a topic to yourself, explain the drill to yourself out loud, or explain the plot of a book or a film, or just anything where you're just talking. You'll get much more progress than you will from rehearsed lines. What do I recommend?
And long
for
story
practicing?
short, it's pretty much big dog, little dog, but like elaborated, right?
Yeah,
Or am I
so
missing something?
basically it's big dog, little dog, but we're using a whispered word instead, because that word helps us to stay on the same of everything else. It forces us to only move our larynx,
whispered.
because anything else would edit the
Okay.
word a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, some people go from like a to a, and you can hear ha and ha are very different sounds. Ha kind of sounds brighter, even though it's not. Like it's not a larynx movement. So that's why if we use like a word, that helps us to stay on the same sound actually being made, just editing the larynx height of that sound. Okay. What do I recommend for practicing both resonance and pitch together? You gave an example of the two earlier. You think you're relying on only one of them at a time instead of both. I would always go one at a time for everything. Everything, we'll learn it one at a time. If you want to, once you get really good at things, you can start putting them together. But the way we put them together is just back-to-back drills. So like do your larynx height drill, then do your, it doesn't have to be this order, but whatever. Larynx height drill, then your quotient drill, and then if you're wanting to change your pitch as well, a pitch drill. Just literally one after the other, and then go into your talking. And whenever you like self-review your voice as you go through it, whenever one of them drops, you re-drill that particular thing, or all of them if you really want to. Yeah, so you mix them together once you've mastered all of them. So once you are like, big dog, little dog is nothing to you, or whispered vowels is nothing to you, you do this in your sleep, then start bringing it all together. For now, though, keep them separated because you want to be able to understand each of them as separate parts of your voice. And if you need practice with the pitch exercise, like I don't have a dedicated pitch drill because most people are pretty good at pitch. If you're struggling, like do a tune that you super just know, like the Mario theme. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Everybody knows that, so everybody can very quickly move their pitch using that. But any little like tune that everybody just has imprinted in their brains, that's going to help you with that.
You look good. It's okay.
Somebody's leaking audio. You might need to mute your mic.
Sorry.
You're okay with pitch, but you always overshoot it and go way too high. Yeah, honestly, just don't worry about pitch too much. It really doesn't affect the gendering of your voice very much. Like when you're hearing me right now, I've got a pretty low pitched voice. This is barely changed from the pitch of before I modified my voice. So hopefully this still sounds feminine to you. If it does, then a low-pitched voice does sound feminine to you. Pitch just doesn't affect gendering very much at all. It's much more the larynx height stuff, resonance, vocal tract size, whichever word you're using, and your quotient or weight, okay? Those are the big ones. Pitch really doesn't affect things very much at all. Again, my voice right now, pretty low pitch. Or if I go back to my original voice and just increase the pitch, okay? So this is before I did any vocal training, okay? If I just go up in pitch, and now I have a higher pitch. Does this sound more feminine to you? It's got a higher pitch. Hopefully you get an idea from this that pitch doesn't really affect things very much at all. So yeah, that's the deal with pitch. Generally, if you have a higher pitched voice as a dude, like a high pitched masculine voice just sounds like a high pitched masculine voice. A low pitched feminine voice just sounds like a low pitched feminine voice. It doesn't affect things massively. Is it time for your larynx question? Yes, it is. I totally forgot. Thank you for reminding me, Deathless Ivy. Let me scroll up. How much do you measure? How much / how do you measure how much to move your larynx? You've been focusing on larynx height with your training and you went way too high with it, way too strained. So my guess is you didn't actually go too high. You probably brought something else in instead. I would say just in terms of where you should shoot for with your larynx height, that depends on your goals. It depends on how you want your voice to sound. Do your whispered vowels Go to like the highest you can go with a whispered vowel. Bring it into phonation. Okay. See how it sounds to you. I found that instead of having the absolute highest, I have it like a little bit lower than that, and that's the voice that I preferred. If it's going too strained, something else is happening. It's not your larynx, something else is happening. Your goal is to sound like a cis woman. That is not a specific goal. I imagine you've heard like a lot of different cis women. I imagine you've heard a lot of different cis women, and you could probably tell their voices apart because they have a lot of variation in their voices. So cis women is not a specific goal. In terms of where you want your larynx height to end up, it's going to depend on your specific goal. Do you want to have like an ultra bright, ultra feminine voice? Do you want to have a more average kind of voice? The average is going to be variable depending on like your region. So like I'm British voices tend to be a little bit darker. And that's why my voice sounds a little bit darker. So if, like you'll notice if I go to, so this is me talking normally right now. If I do the full drill, you'll hear it'll sound ever so slightly different to this. Cheese. And now I'm talking like this. This is me talking at my like brightest, my most raised larynx, like as feminine as I can possibly bring things. Whereas this is me normally, a little bit darker, even slightly busier, but only like the tiniest little bit. And I have a bit more vocal fry, a lot more vocal fry, especially on an evening. So yeah, where you end up depends on where you want to end up. This is your voice. Do whatever you want with it. I'm just teaching you how to control it. You decide where it ends up at the end. Yeah, no worries. If you're feeling strained though, something else is happening. That's not your larynx. You're activating something else. What's probably happening is you're reaching like as far as you can figure out how to bring your larynx, and then you're doing something else instead because you're not sure where to go. So either you brought it up to its maximum, or you just haven't figured out how to bring it up higher. Usually, if you're in the second category, you're probably warping your words in some way. So play around with the whispered word one, whispered vowel. Make sure the word stays the same. Like the pot stays a pot, the cheese stays a cheese, etc., etc. Sometimes you lower your larynx to sound deeper, but in feminine range, person above. It's probably more of you're lowering your pitch. So I have quite a low-pitched feminine voice. It might sound a bit deeper to some people, but this is because I have a lower pitch. If I was to like really bring that in, there's like a particular voice. I ain't gonna say the name of it, but different people like this kind of a voice where you slow the speech down and you have a deeper kind of a pitch, add a little bit of breathiness, and some people really like this particular voice. It's a particular kind of a voice. If any of you have watched those old M&S adverts, this is not just food. This is M&S food. It's that voice. Yeah, I would guess you're probably talking about that.
ASMR.
It comes from a lower pitch. M&S is a British supermarket.
ASMR. Right?
Yeah, or yes.
Oh,
or it
no,
could
no,
be
no, no.
an
I know what you mean.
ASMR
I know what
too.
you mean now. Sorry. M&S.
Yeah,
Got it.
M&S Foods. Marks and Spencer's.
Sorry, go on. Sorry, you're funny.
No, it's all right. OMG, the M&S ads? Yeah, that's what I've been practicing recently. I'm working towards like some different voice acting stuff, and I'm currently learning that voice. We're not going to say the name of that voice. We all know what it's called. But yes, that voice comes from. So I would guess you're probably referring to that, and that comes from that lower pitch. That would be my guess.
Yeah, this is me doing it now. This is how I normally talk, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, so in terms of
It
where
worked
we
for
end
me.
up,
I was
this
just
is
trying to
down
give
to
the
like
person
personal
above me a little
preference.
bit of hope.
Okie dokie, do we have any more questions about larynx height stuff? That's looking like a no. Okay, well if everybody understands everything to do with larynx height now, if that makes sense, so you might just need to do your practice obviously, and that's totally fine. If you find that you're, as you talk, this is dropping and returning back to your normal voice, that's just a practice thing. So practice for this, practice for both larynx height and for glottal quotient stuff. The way we practice that is essentially you do the drill and then you just talk about anything. You just talk, listen to your voice actively as you do it, okay? Whenever you notice, so for whatever it is you're training, whenever you notice it starting to revert back to normal, immediately re-drill, go through the whole drill, don't skip anything, okay? And then go back into your talking and continue with what you were saying. At the start, at first, this is going to be like, you're probably going to need to do it like every sentence or maybe even twice a sentence, okay? In time, though, you're going to get better and better. So be patient with yourself. This is like a brand new skill that you've probably never done before. So be patient with yourself. Boo. Anything else I can think of what we need to mention? Resonant stuff is often conflated with pitch. We've talked about that already. So just remember that they are very different sounds that are like completely unrelated. Cool. I think that's all larynx height stuff. All right, so the last thing we will talk about is the relationship between your weight or your glottal quotient and your vocal tract size / resonance / larynx height. Those two factors kind of interact with each other in that if you have a lighter vocal weight, more open quotient, combined with a brighter raised larynx, that's going to make your voice sound more full, okay? More quote-unquote normal. The same applies for the opposite. If you have a lowered larynx combined with a more closed glottal quotient, that's going to make your voice sound full or normal. When these start diverting away from each other, then things start sounding a lot more cartoonish, a bit more just unordinary. So for example, if I was to change my glottal quotient without changing my larynx height, I'll start sounding more and more like this, okay? So now I have that buzziness going on in my voice, but I don't have that drop in my larynx height. So now this sounds kind of gnomey. It sounds like the school nerd a little bit. It kind of sounds like a cartoon elf maybe, like a Santa's elf or whatever. SpongeBob kind of has a little bit of this going on with his voice. So yeah, this can all be things that are considered more overfull. It's a bit less typical. And if you're finding that your voice is sounding kind of cartoonish, then this might be one of the things that are happening, where your weight isn't in line with your larynx height, okay? So either you would need to then drop down your larynx and now things sound much more normal and more masculine, or you would need to reduce some of that vocal weight, go to a more open quotient, and now things sound, again, more normal, but on the feminine side of things, okay? Same happens on the other way around. So if we were to drop our larynx height without changing our glottal quotient, okay, now we have a hollow kind of a voice. Things sound, they don't really sound more masculine, they don't really sound more feminine, they just sound a bit weird. Different cartoon characters will sound like this. Excuse me, yawning sounds like that. We could think of like a Yogi Bear. I'm smarter than the average bear. He kind of sounds like this. We could be thinking like, who else sounds like this? Oh, if I add a bit of breathiness, now I kind of sound a bit more like Pooh Bear. Oh, Christopher Robin. Yeah, Pooh Bear kind of sounds a bit more like that. Patrick kind of sounds a bit more like this. No, this is Patrick. Okay, this is another one of those sounds. Doesn't quite sound like an ordinary person. It's more cartoonish. So either we would be looking to bring our larynx up, and now we're going to sound more normal or more feminine. Or we need to add a little bit more vocal weight, and now things again sound much more normal and typical on the male end of things, or the more masculine end of things. Does that make sense to everybody? So by having what we've learned so far put together, then things sound more quote-unquote normal, and they further diverge the more they get closer and closer to cartoonish. Now, as I say all of that, I don't need you to be like perfectly in sync, okay? If you sound a little bit more buzzy, so right now I'm sounding a little bit more buzzy without sounding like super buzzy, all right? This is still hopefully going to sound reasonably feminine. It's just getting closer in that direction. So long as you're in the correct quadrant, so as long as you're like in that femme full quadrant, even if it's not perfectly full, you'll still sound reasonably femme. And different accents in different regions tend to be a little bit different on this graph. So if you're in like West Coast America, you probably sound like, well, you're probably aiming to sound perfectly full. They're very, very full in West Coast America. If you're in a Spanish-speaking country or like language of Spanish origin, Hispanic. If you're in a Hispanic-speaking country, then you're probably going to lean a bit more overfull. Might not, but some do. If you are British, you might lean a little bit closer to underfull. So yeah, play around with it and see where you fit and what sounds nice to you. Yeah. Any questions about fullness? It's a relatively simple concept. Just make sure that your larynx height and your perceptual vocal weight are roughly in sync with one another. They don't need to be perfect, but roughly in sync with one another. A few of these things can communicate age as well. Like if we lean a little bit more hollow, that tends to communicate getting like a bit older, like middle-aged or older than that. But different things can communicate different things. If anybody's been to Online Vocal Coach Discord, Celine De Silva is a little bit more hollow than Perfectly Full Femme, but she's still very much in that femme box, that femme quadrant, and so she still sounds femme. It's just leaning a little bit more hollow than average. No questions. Okay. Well, that is.
I felt like one.
Oh yeah. Go
Sort
for
of.
it. Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was all really good information. And I was like trying to like copy all of like the voices along with you, and they were kind of easy to do, but I didn't really understand what I was doing, and it was just like a lot of terminology that I hadn't heard before.
Okay.
Is there any like exercises to help like get more control over that?
Yeah, so we've been going through a bunch of exercises. You arrived a little bit late, so you probably missed like the initial explanation.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
would
All right.
super
Yeah. I'll
recommend-
rewatch all that. Never mind then.
Pardon?
Sorry.
Yeah. So I would super recommend going back over the VOD, and you'll be able to catch up on those bits. I think you just missed some of the like useful information. Specifically, look for the bit where it's the section 1. What do I even call that? What do I call section 1?
No, it's all right. Don't worry,
Voice
sweetheart. I'll
basics.
listen through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll figure it all out. You can move forward. Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry.
fair enough. But yeah, just look for that section 1, voice basics. That's going to be really useful for you. That'll explain
Right.
what all of this is about. Cool. Okie dokie. Yeah, no worries at all. So we've gotten through all of the gender affirming voice stuff. The last section is just talking about making your voice your own. Okay, because you'll have noticed dudes sound different from one another. Chicks sound different from one another. There's a lot of different things. Excuse me. There's a lot of different things that can alter the sound of your voice that aren't gender-related things. So these are just things that you can use to customize how your specific voice sounds, making it your own. So this is not an exhaustive list. There are tons of different things that you can do. If you do singing, you're going to explore like probably more than what's on this list. These are just some of the most common ones that people explore, but there is an inexhaustive list. Like there is probably is like a literally infinite list because you could be doing like infinite different things. But these are just some common tone mods. So vocal fry, specifically fry creek. There are 3 different kinds of fry. There is fry creek, there is M0, and there is fry rasp. M0 and fry rasp are probably not ones that you're going to be using. Don't even worry about that. Fry creek is the main one. That's one people think of when they hear fry. So fry creek sounds like this. If I if I start talking like this is Fry Creek, okay? If we think of like Raven from Teen Titan, she's always talking with a whole bunch of Fry Creek. You'll have heard in my voice during this workshop, I often use, I'm not using any right now, but I often end up using bits of Fry Creek, usually at the ends of my sentences sometimes. I had it there. Yeah. So yeah, Fry Creek is something that people use sometimes. Again, super optional. Just if you like it, you can have it. I tend to find that when I am more tired, I get a lot more Fry Creek. I'm sure by the end of this workshop, I'm going to be using a lot more than I'm currently using. And if you re-listen to the workshop, you'll have heard me using bits of Fry Creek. There you go, bits of Fry Creek came into my voice there. It's just something that I use every so often. So often there was, again, me using it. There you go. Different examples of me using vocal fry. Vocal fry is also a little cool one. This is only for the feminizers, but you can use a little trick. Most people, because of when we use grave, that also includes a little bit of Fry Creek, okay? You can hear that creak in my voice, okay? So a lot of people will hear that fry. So if you go like, essentially, as you're going lower in pitch, there'll be a point where you struggle to go lower, and you use that grave extension, which has that vocal fry and that closed quotient. So if you were to just, let's say this is your floor pitch, and underneath you'd have to use the grave extension. If you just add vocal fry every time you go here, it'll sound like all of this is your grave extension, okay? So to everybody else that doesn't have like, that hasn't done voice training, it'll sound like your bass pitch or your pitch floor is all the way up here when it's actually down here, okay? So let's say if I, every time I go down and pitch a little bit, I start using some vocal fry until I could bring it back up again. And then when I have to ease down into some lower pitch, I use vocal fry. Even though actually I could go all the way down here and I could have like a really, really low pitch. Yeah, it's just a little trick you can do. So it sounds to other people like you just can't go that low. Because, oh my gosh, this is so hard for me to go lower pitch because like I'm so feminine, you know. So it's like a little trick that the feminizers can use if they want to. Pitch. I consider pitch a customization thing. I call it gendered 0.5. It's like a little bit gendered, but only in the sense that like, one, your pitch is slightly going to be controlled by your vocal weight. Like if you have a light vocal weight, you're not going to be able to access the absolute lowest pitches. And it's probably going to be easier for you using the higher pitches. But really, on average, most women will have a higher pitch. On average, most men will have a lower pitch. However, if you have a higher pitched masculine voice, it will just sound like a higher pitched masculine voice, as we demonstrated earlier. And if you have a lower pitched feminine voice, it'll just sound like a lower pitched feminine voice. Again, as I've been demonstrating through this whole workshop, I have a lower pitched feminine voice. This is quite a low pitch right now. This is very much in like the androgynous sort of masculine area of pitch, typically, if we just go by averages. And yet, hopefully, it sounds reasonably feminine to you. So, yeah, pitch, I consider it like barely gendered. Like, technically, yes, but like just, you know? Cool. Breathiness is also something we can use. We mentioned that into what I'm now calling the M&S voice. Breathiness, it just sounds like if I just exhale a whole bunch as I'm talking, now my voice has become breathy. So literally, if I'm just exhaling more air, now I sound breathier. You'll find yourself running out of air quicker if you use a lot of breathiness. You don't have to use a ton of breathiness though. If I just talk like this has a little bit of breathiness, but not a ton of breathiness. Okay? So play around with that. If it's something that you like, you can keep it. That's up to you. Twang is a bit of a weird one. Twang kind of sounds like this. It sounds a little bit similar to, if you're untrained, it sounds a little bit similar to a over full voice, but it is a different thing, okay? So twang, this comes from what are they called? Ariepiglottal folds, I think they're called. Don't worry about where it comes from. The point is, twang, it is common in some accents, like it's a bit more common in the south of North America. So like Alabama, places like that tend to have a little bit of twang. And it will help to make your voice a little bit louder. Personally, I don't use this at all. I don't really know many people that use this, but if you want it, you can use it. Some people think this sounds nasally. It's a different thing to nasality. It just kind of sounds a little bit similar. If you want to practice this and you want to have twang in your voice, practice like doing like a cartoon baby, like wah, wah, that cartoon baby voice that has a whole bunch of twang, okay? So this is what twang sounds like. If you want that, you can have it. You're in the South and don't want to sound Southern. There is way more to the Southern accent than just that. Like, I probably didn't sound like I was from Texas or anything when I was talking like that. So, like, it's a small part of the accent. You don't need to worry too much. But if you want it, you can have it. Or if it's there and you don't want it, you can get rid of it. Stepped away to make your roommate breakfast. You probably missed quite a bit then. I would recommend going over to the VOD, or to the live stream, sorry. youtube.com/@trans_network. Rewind to wherever you were, increase the speed, and then you'll catch up. Cool. Or just like rewatch what you missed later, I suppose. The VOD stays up foreversies, so you have that as long as you want it. And all the past VODs are there as well, so huge resource for you guys. Was that a question there from someone?
No, that was just so cute what you said. It'll be up there for foreversies. Hey.
No worries.
Oh, you were talking about, you weren't just adding Z's at the end. You were like saying Z's as in like to, anyway, never mind. Stop.
It's fine, don't worry.
I'm an idiot. Sorry. I'm just going to keep listening. Sorry, I'm not watching.
You're fine, don't worry. Okay, so last little thing that you could be thinking of customizing is accent stuff. Some people like to change their accents, and if that's you, then by all means do so. You may find that in voice feminization, depending on which teacher you follow, you may find your voice becoming a bit more West Coast American. Now, in my teachings, that shouldn't happen, but in some people's teachings, that does happen. In my opinion, and I don't want to throw too much shade, but in my opinion, this is a result of bad teaching that's relying too much on mimicry, and the person is you'll end up mimicking their accent, your teacher's accent. Yeah, if you're doing the pitch psi or the slide down to grave for close quotient, that shouldn't affect your accent. If you're doing the whispered vowels or big dog little dog, that won't affect your accent. But because like 80% at least of the online trans voice coaches are West Coast, people end up mimicking them and building the accent accidentally and sounding like Cali Girl. If that's you, then you might want to do something about that and move towards your original accent. Or if you just like it, then stick with where you are. That's totally fine as well. All of this is just customization, just whatever you want it to be. I know some people want to remove their accent and change it. Again, you're welcome to do that. It won't affect the gendering of your voice. So yeah, do we have any questions about customization stuff?
Yeah, I have one question. So,
Yeah,
is there like any amount of breathiness that's not feminine? Is there like a limit that we should set? Like,
just
like
wherever
it's
you want it to
too
be.
breathy, like not
You
good.
can go as breathy as you want to go. Your main limitation that might make you want to not go too crazy with it is just your like lung capacity. If you go like if I go as breathy as I can, I run out of breath in about 4 or 5 words, and then I have to inhale again. And that's from like a full inhale. So if you go like super breathy, you're gonna have to just like breathe in a heck of a lot, and it might just make you sound a bit weird. But you know, that's up to you. Do whatever you want in terms of breathiness.
Okay.
There is no limit. Or your lung capacity is the limit. About prioritization, you mentioned that pitch is the least important part and larynx is the most important part. What would you say is the second most important part after larynx? So I would say equally, well, maybe larynx slightly above. I would go like larynx height is probably most important, but like just underneath there, almost at the exact same importance, is your glottal quotient, your vocal weight. Okay, that's going to be your like second. But it's like if larynx height is like a 10 out of 10 of importance, glottal quotient / vocal weight is like a 9.5 out of 10. Like they're pretty much as important as each other because of that fullness stuff. So yeah, really you need both. And then we drop down massively. So like the next one after that is going to be like your, in linguistics they call this embouchure. Some people call it R2. Basically the oral space, the oral cavity, reducing that size can have a small effect, but it's a very small effect. And then pitch has even less effect than that. It like is almost zero. I don't go over the oral space stuff in these workshops because it is so unimportant, and I want you focusing on the larynx height and the glottal quotient stuff. Any other questions? Oh, I missed that bit. You use vibrato very, very slightly to give your voice more stability. Any other techniques? I don't think vibrato would give your voice more stability. If you like having a little bit of vibrato, then by all means do it. If you're struggling with stability, I would recommend doing some glottal strikes. So this sounds like, if you think about the word butter in a British accent, like butter or bottle, okay? That is a glottal strike, okay? So you have a glottal stop where you have your open, close, open, close, open, close. During it doing your normal phonation, it will just stop, okay? And that makes that thing going on, okay? Or the same can be like it suddenly sends a burst of air and then shuts closed. That's a glottal strike, okay? So like that's glottal strikes, okay? So if you're struggling with stability, do some glottal strikes and then carry on. That should help you. So glottal strikes are just going to be like and then you keep talking with what you're saying, and hopefully you'll find that stability comes back. Okay, because the lack of stability is you struggling to actually get proper closure. So by doing those glottal strikes, you force yourself to have some really fucking good closure, and that'll bring you back to where you're trying to be. Okie dokie. Those are the sorts of things that I go over with people in lessons when they're struggling. Just to give people some idea of what can come up in lessons. Okie dokie. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our lecture portion of the workshop. So, huge special thanks to the people that support us over at Ko-fi. They bring these workshops to you by financially supporting us. So we have our tier ones, Red Kitten, M, Mihuggy, Himori, and there is another person. Hang on. We had another person recently. They should be on this. I am sure I edited it. Hold the phone. Okay, you guys, wait a moment. I'm gonna, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Everyone, wait a moment, because I need to go and get, I need to go and get that. Hopefully you guys can still only see the presentation. And I'm not like showing a bunch of details. Get me the corner of that so I can shrink this window. Oh my gosh, there we go.
Oh my god. I didn't realize there was visuals for this. I was just listening the whole time.
Oh yeah, there's been a presentation this whole time. That'll be what's made things more difficult for you. Yeah, there's been a presentation that we've been going through this whole time.
It's okay. No,
that one is meant to
that's
be
good. Okay, I'm watching it now at least.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's supposed to be over here. Okay, let me just add our new person, because they signed up last week during the workshop, which is really crazy.
Also, thank you to everyone that's donated and supported this. This is amazing. This sort of stuff costs so much money to do in real life. It's so scary, and it doesn't just help people with their voices, it saves lives in dysphoria, so thank you.
Yeah, super huge thank you to everybody that supports over the Ko-fi. You guys are making a huge difference. There we go. Grave robbed Maria. you get your freaking thank yous as well. We do not miss any of our thank yous. And there we go. Okay, so yeah, Red Kitten, M, Mihugi, Himori, and Grave Robbed Maria. Thank you guys so much for supporting at our tier 1. These people, I have been terrible with Ko-fi content, so these people literally, they haven't even signed up for content. They've just signed up for helping you guys. It's because of these people that I'm able to bring you these workshops each week. Tomorrow, actually, over in Trans Network, in our Discord, we have a makeup workshop with a professional makeup artist. We were able to hire them because of the people supporting at Ko-fi. That's how we fund that. So we have a makeup artist in the Discord right now because of you guys. So huge, amazing thank you for doing that. Like, I can't put enough emphasis on how major it is that these people are supporting the Ko-fi. And if you want to be added to this list and you want to be one of those amazing people as well, head over to the Ko-fi link just down below, ko-fi.com/transnetwork, and you can support as well. Because yeah, it seriously makes such a huge difference. So thank you so much. Over in tier 2, Lan Misa, even crazier. You're like super awesome. So thank you so much, Lan Misa. And Beth, our top supporter. You're crazy, Beth. Thank you so much for supporting us over at tier 3. I think Beth, she was earlier. Is Beth still here?
You're welcome.
Hells yeah. Everybody give a huge thank you to Beth in the chat. Because like, seriously, Beth, you crazy girl. It's like so huge that these people are supporting us. So yeah, these people brought this workshop to you. So huge thank yous to them. Freaking fill the chats.
Thank you, Beth.
Yeah, love that shit. Oh shoot, did you miss it? Yeah, we're right at the end of the workshop. But you can catch up over on the YouTube. youtube.com/@trans_network. Beth, you don't see it because you're watching through Trans Network, but right now Trans Voice is filled with thank yous. We have claps in the chat over in Trans Academy. So yeah, big thank yous to you, Beth. Yeah, no worries, Jago. Cool. So yeah, if you want to support, head over to the Ko-fi. It means a huge amount, and like everything that we do is funded by these people. So yeah, it's pretty huge. And also, extra special thanks to Crammed Voice Lessons over in Linguistics. Charles is no longer currently training me for free. Charles did train me for free. Yes, Crammed Voice Lessons, or Charles, over in Linguistics. He's the dude that runs Linguistics. All of my training, I did a lot of research myself, but then he gave me some formal training. It was a 6-week course, and he did it totally for free, just so that I would be contributing to the greater society. All I did in return was like, I ran a couple of events for him to like, so that he could have a couple of days off. Like, in exchange for, like, God, how much teaching was it? It was like 3 hours a week for 6 weeks. So whatever that is. And then he got back like 4 hours of my time. Like, he is just insane and amazing. So huge thank you to Charles over in Linguistics for being so generous and bringing all this useful information to you guys. A bunch of the exercises, like a handful of the exercises we use, have come from him. Like our glottal quotient ones, these pitch slide ones, they came from him. So huge thank you to Charles over in Linguistics. If you want to, you can join their Discord as well. Tomorrow they have a really useful practice called Trans Voice Lounge. Highly recommend it. So if you want to practice some of the stuff you've learned here, whether it's the larynx height, or so they do big dog, little dog, or the quotient stuff. I don't know which week it is. They rotate between the two. But have a look over there, and there's some really good practice going on. So super recommend that. And if you want to learn to train to be a teacher, if you're like really good at this and you want to teach others, then look out to be part of the next cohort. Okie dokie, that marks the end of our workshop. So let's head on over to our one-on-one section. There it is. Okie dokie. So, VatChat is VatChat is YouTube chat, in case you're wondering. This is so hard, it's mirrored. VatChat that is is the YouTube chat, if you're wondering. So, quick plugs before we do the one-on-ones. Again, if you want to financially support us, head over to the Ko-fi. I do have some big plans for the Ko-fi to like make it actually worthwhile for people. I'm currently working on it, and this is not ready yet. But I'm hoping to eventually start doing some D&D sessions there, where the idea is like we'll do a one-shot, and you use whatever you're learning in your voice as you're playing D&D. So you'll use your target voice, you'll use it as practice, you'll re-drill. I will do my best to also DM as well as giving you voice feedback. That's going to be difficult at first because I have to pay attention to a lot of things there to also be DMing. But eventually that'll be a thing.
New donation from Scene.
Oh my gosh. Cien? I don't know how to pronounce your name exactly. Holy moly. Thank you for joining. Oh, there. I don't have words. You crazy. Thank you so much. Latter pronunciation, Cien. Cien, thank you so much for supporting. Huge ups in the chat for Cien. Oh my gosh. Cien has just signed up to the Ko-fi. Thank you so much, Cien. You're the reason why we have these workshops. Like, you're the reason why we do this stuff. So that's amazing. Thank you so much. That's the second time that's happened now. It's crazy. That happened last week as well. Thank you so much.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're the best. I do not know what I was saying anymore. Yeah, huge ups to Cien. That's huge.
So I was going to say you have the most beautiful smile ever. That is so cute.
Thank you.
Yeah, go on.
Thank you.
It's okay. I'm glad that you're happy. Yay, good job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm very self-conscious about my smile, so.
Oh, shush.
But yeah, huge thank you to Cien. Thank you. I didn't know what else to say. That's really huge. Thank you. Yeah, D&D coming soon. I very much don't expect that super soon because I need to work on that a lot. I've never even DM'd for I've played like 3 or 4 games of D&D before. So like I need to do a lot of work to figure out how I'm going to do it. But once I do that, I will let you guys know. And we can start doing that for the Ko-fi supporters. Also, I do very occasionally put up some videos. I want to do more of that. If there is any particular content you want on there, let me know and I will make that happen. But right now it's just my rants and rambles, essentially. So yeah. Cool. Okay. Wow. The other things to plug. Okay. You can also join our Discord. Everything that I do through my Discord. My Discord is one of the places that is one of these chats right now. I'm currently, for those that have joined later and haven't figured out what's going on, I'm currently in 3 different Discords. I'm in mine, Trans Network, I'm in Trans Voice, and I'm in Trans Academy. And I've also got a YouTube chat. So that's why there's like people talking that you can't see, or me reacting to chats that you can't see. That's what's going on there. So yeah, if you join my Discord, that's where everything is happening, where everything's popping. If you're wanting to book lessons, I charge £20 an hour for lessons. It's £20 for a 55-minute lesson. Or you can get a public shadowable lesson for free. The public ones, I do reserve a right to upload those onto my YouTube channel if I think it's useful for general public, and other people can sit in and listen into the lesson. Yeah. Tomorrow we have a makeup workshop. So if you want to learn about doing some makeup, I think this month's focus is going to be on eye stuff, like eyeshadow, eyeliner, that sort of stuff. We have our own professional makeup artist, so head over to that and you'll be able to ask a bunch of questions and get some help with that. What else have we got on the Discord? We have an awesome freaking hype community that are really cool and really supportive, and I'm very, very proud of them. So yeah, head over to the Discord for just anything you want from me. Discord's the best place to get it. And if you're just wanting like help with your voice in general, then that's a place. There's a really useful like feedback thing. So you can like submit a clip and I'll give you some feedback. That's in the Discord as well. Super, super useful. So yeah, it's a resource. Use it. And there's also the YouTube. Again, youtube.com/@trans_network. If you want to head over to there, I have all of the past VODs, including the makeup VODs. So use that. And we're going to have some videos coming out soon. Now that I'm like ready, I promise, I know I've been saying it for a really long time, but I will make some videos and I'll stick them on there. So yeah. And I have been practicing with that as well. So that should come soon. Cool. I think that's all the plugs. When is a makeup workshop? It is, excuse me, 6 p.m. UTC tomorrow. If somebody is able to make a timestamp of that so it can share in people's local times, that would be really useful. So you can just do that in like Trans Voice and in Trans Academy, just to provide what 6 p.m. UTC is as people's local times, or just like use Google. So like 6 p.m. plus 0 UTC. Yeah, UTC plus 0, you mean. So for us it's GMT, but it's the same thing. Yeah. Anything else I need to say with any of that? If you head over to my Discord, there's like an events tab, so you'll be able to see that in your local time.
So you do this every, I don't know what, it's like morning in Australia right now. It's like a Sunday, but it's Saturday for you, yeah?
Wow, okay. Oh yeah, no, it is Saturday for me right now, yeah.
Okay, so I just basically, I put in Saturday GMC plus 10, converted.
If Australia is plus 10, then yeah. I think we are.
No, I'm asking what you are. Yeah, what's yours?
I think I'm plus 0. I think GMT is plus 0 right now. Although I think we're going to plus 1 soon. I don't know when though. I don't know when our British summertime comes in.
You should be going tomorrow. GMT plus 0 on a Saturday. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And so the actual time will be 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock GMT. Yeah, Jago just did it in Trans Network. I don't think I can copy and paste that though, but that's fine. You didn't catch the date? It's tomorrow. If you go into my server, go into the events tab, it will show you it in your local time. So that will help you.
Perfect, thank you.
You don't need to like figure anything out.
That fully answered my question. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. Is there anything else I need to tell you guys? I don't think so. I think I've got everything there. Okay, would anybody like some one-on-one help with their voice? I'll stop rambling now. And the way we do this is just speak next to go next. Because I can't like monitor everybody, so just whoever talks next gets to have some one-on-one feedback. And when I'm giving feedback to people, by all means, if you have text questions, just write them in the chats, and I'll get to your question after I've finished with that person. So yeah, whoever speaks next.
No one's said anything. Yeah, I'm okay. Yo, hi, I'm here. I'm Squish.
Hi. How can I help you?
Well, I'm just like, I've only been voice training for like, I don't know, a week or two. I don't really know. And I'm like, I have like a singing background, so I can sing like really, really low pitch. I can go really high pitch sometimes, but like I'm not good at it. And now I'm just trying to have like just a 24/7 like femme voice, just like in my normal life. And I just like don't, all I've done is big dog, little dog. And it's really helped. But everything else is just like so confusing, and I just don't know like even really how I sound, or if it's like convincing at all or anything like that. So
yeah,
I don't exactly know what I need, but like, are there any flaws at the moment? Are there any like obvious flaws?
So this is a difficult question to answer. I don't tend to tell people if they sound masculine or feminine because I don't want to insert my goals on top of them. Like it depends on your goals. I'm
trying to go really high pitch, super femme. Like I'm not going to take any judgment. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, but like that means different things to me than to you necessarily. So it's very difficult to give that kind of feedback. What I can say is, it sounds like you have. It sounds like you've raised your larynx. Assuming we're feminizing, it sounds like you've raised your larynx. It sounds like a light vocal weight, an open quotient. Whether you wanted to manipulate in more detail than that is up to you. It sounds like what you've probably done is you have, like, you basically just, because of your singing background, you probably clicked really well with this. And so you've been able to feminize very quickly. So it's more going to be a matter of like, what does it sound like to you? Like, do you have any issues with your voice?
Just that it keeps changing. And I don't exactly know where to
Right.
settle. I don't know what's most comforting for other people to listen to because I make ASMR, so I just want it to be like
Oh, okay.
accessible and like nice for everybody and relaxing.
Okay. So with regards to ASMR, obviously there are some different styles, but the main thing we're looking for is just an ultra light glottal quotient, an ultra open quotient. So rewatch that bit of the VOD if you missed it.
Yep.
But
I want to learn
essentially
about
just being
open quotient
light.
stuff, whatever that means. Yep.
Open quotient / light vocal weight. 2 words meaning the same thing. But yeah, we're generally going for
thank you.
very, very light. The volume might be a little bit quieter as well. So if I go for like really light and really gentle, this is going to be more typical of ASMR.
Yes. Okay.
So play around with some things like that. You could play around with breathiness maybe. Those are going to be common things. Yeah, those are the main things that are shouting out for me for ASMR. But I would say instead of focusing on like, how does this sound to everybody else, focus on how it sounds to you. Because ultimately you're going to be the best judge. Because you're going to know your goals better than anybody else will. So focus on what you think your voice sounds like. If you find like there's an issue, then address that issue. You mentioned that you're finding it's changing a lot. I would guess that this is just because you haven't been doing it for very long. As you keep practicing, it will stabilize more. I would say it sounds like you don't really have a very specific goal, like you don't have any voices to compare to. Try comparing it to different voices. That might give you a more like solid concept of what you actually want. And that will help you to like settle onto something. But yeah, my advice would be have a little explore and just practice. Practice will help you to maintain that consistency. So if it's changing a lot, you're looking for consistency, and that's just practice.
All right. Thank you so much. That's amazing.
you're very,
Thank
very
you.
welcome. And good luck with your ASMR channel. I hope that goes well.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody check out Squish Nurse ASMR on YouTube. I assume it's YouTube.
Oh my God. I'm definitely donating. Thanks. That's free advertising. It's not
You're
free
super
advertising.
welcome. You're
Thank you.
super welcome. And if you donate, that's
God.
insane. You all look crazy.
Of course
I
I'm
love
going
you.
to. Yes.
But yeah, major shout outs to you. Okay, speak next to go next. Who's next?
Me.
Hello,
Hi.
how can I help you?
Yes, I was wondering if
Oh wait, we got
you could
2
tell
people
me
there. And I don't know who the 2 people are. Who are my 2 people? And I'll just pick one of you to go first.
I'm Vinaya.
We'll say Vanilla go first, or Vinaya, sorry, and then the other person who I didn't quite catch your name. Just to give an order thing. I mean, I'll get to both of you, so don't worry. So we'll go Vinaya first.
Okay. Well, I was wondering if you could tell me if my voice is full or not. Like, does it have a proper fullness to it?
How does it sound to you? Does it sound at all cartoonish, or?
I mean, to my ears, it's fine to me, but I don't know. It's like when I talk to people sometimes, like they kind of react like a little weird, a little funny. So.
Okay, I'm
I
not
feel like
hearing
I'm a poor
anything
judge of
that
my own
sounds.
voice.
Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I was saying that I feel like I'm a poor judge of my own voice.
Okay. I'm not hearing anything that sounds particularly abnormal about your voice. So I'm not necessarily sure what it is that people would be reacting to. People's reactions can be a little bit difficult to interpret sometimes. It could mean that maybe, I don't know, like, does your voice align with what you look like? That could be a thing. Do you just like dress oddly and people are just like, they're not actually reacting to your voice and they're just reacting to your appearance? Are you, because we are talking about feminization here, are you just kind of smoking hot? Because people will just look at you a lot if you're smoking hot. There are lots of reasons why people will look and react funny. And it's very difficult to know exactly why that is unless they tell you. So it's not a very useful metric, I'm afraid. I would say I'm not hearing anything that sounds peculiar to me. There's nothing in your voice that's like, most people don't do that. So yeah, there's nothing that I'm hearing that's like out of the ordinary. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I find it to be helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. If you are finding, if you do come to finding anything is like when you're self-analyzing, bad self-feedback is like, is it fem enough? Good feedback is like, or good analysis is this particular element where I want it to be? So analyze based on your larynx height. Analyze based on your, not like behind itself, but like the sound, like based on that brightness, okay? Or analyze based on that like perceptual vocal weight, and see if things sound like individually where they want, and then see if they sound collectively how you want it to be. It's a much more actionable way of approaching voice.
Thanks, I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's just tough to kind of bring all this stuff together, you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's one of the hardest parts. So yeah.
Yeah.
My phone has just vibrated. Does that mean I got a notification, or camera doesn't seem to be dying right now? Let me just check with my cables. Definitely, the cable's in, so I shouldn't be. Okay, I think we're fine. I think I just got a notification. My phone is my camera, so that's what I'm on about there. Okay, other person who went next. Was it Polyx or was it someone else?
That would be me. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. How can I help you?
I mainly just wanted to get some more practice in, but also I have the same issue where I'm trying to masculinize my voice, but I feel like that's the part that has been holding me back from passing. It's like the one thing that people point out.
Sure. So, is there a particular element that you feel needs particular work, or do you want us to just go through all of it?
I can do well with mimicry. I did a practice with Savvy at one point.
Yeah. How'd that go?
It went really well.
Yeah, good.
Apparently I have like a good vocal range and I can mimic well, so I'm trying to do that more, and I try to do that with like singing.
Okay, then let's have a little go with our. We're going to use the word. What was the word I used earlier? With paw. Okay, we're going to use the word paw. All right. So I want you to start. We're going to do kind of like big dog, little dog, but we're going to do little dog, big dog. Okay. So we're going to start with a really small paw and get bigger and bigger. Okay. It'll be like this. All right. Give that a go to start with. And your mic settings. Check that your input sensitivity is turned on to manual and set all the way to the left, and your noise suppression is turned off. Both of those are in voice and video settings.
Noise suppression is off. Okay.
Noise suppression.
And then what was the other?
And input sensitivity all the way to the left. It should say like minus 100 decibels. Okay, all right.
We're starting from the top or from low to
top? The
top?
Going down.
Okay.
You're really quiet for me. Let me just see if I can just turn you up.
Sorry, it's my headset.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I'll just sort it on my end. Okay, go again. Nice. Okay. As we get to the absolute lowest there, I then want you to bring in a phonation test. So it'll be like. Yours might not sound exactly like mine, but that's fine. Good. Okay, from there, why don't you tell me? Tell me what you went over in your Savvy lesson, okay? But use the drill, use the phonation test, and then bring it into your talking, okay? And as we're doing this, I want you to listen to your voice as you're talking, and if you hear that it starts to raise up again, re-drill, okay? And then just keep going.
Okay.
All right. I will also be listening as well.
Okay.
All right, whenever you're ready.
We went over pot that mat
You went over
It was that brat sat on a flat mat.
Oh yeah. You're raising up again. Go back through the drill. Keep going. And keep going. So like, what drills did you do together?
That brat sat on a flat mat.
So it sounds like that was the okay. That's fine. So that sounded really good. I think keep practicing it because you do slowly start raising back up. But I think that was a really good start. If you can just keep practicing like that, and remember when we're talking, I don't want rehearsed lines. I want you to just talk and tell me stuff, or obviously tell yourself stuff. But that was a really good start. So I think just keep practicing that, and you'll be able to get yourself to like a really nice and low area with your resonance. Keep going with that, and I think you're going to do really well. Once you've really mastered that, start bringing in some glottal quotient stuff, because I think you could get a bit buzzier as well. But this is a really good place to start. So just keep going as you are. You did a really good job of that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Okie dokie. So, thank you for the lesson. You have to go now. Have a good night. Thank you so much for coming, Nat. These workshops are on every single week, the exact same time, 7 p.m. GMT or 7 p.m. UTC. So come along next week if you want to come along next week. And they are also all streamed live to YouTubes, and so they all will be like, they'll stay there for you to access. Cool. Okay, Ty, did you want to go next?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I wanted to go. I just want to know if I literally just have like a little voice thing going on. Like, I just want to know if I can, like, if my voice sounds like good. Because a lot of people like say that I sound like a lesbian. That's trying to like force their voice.
That's not a sound, but sure.
Like I'm
lesbians
just,
don't talk a certain way, but okay.
Yeah. I know, but like, yeah, people just say that I sound.
Yeah, people say all sorts of weird stuff. Talking like a lesbian isn't a thing. So they basically just said your voice sounds like Goo Goo Gaga, or even that you could think of being a certain thing. Like they've basically just said nothing. So I literally have no idea what they're hearing that sounds lesbian. I don't even know what that means.
I don't know. That's what I don't get either. I just came because I'm like confused about it. Like,
yeah. So I don't know what they could possibly mean by that. It doesn't mean anything. It sounds like someone just being a bit weird. Yeah. How does it sound to you?
To me, it sounds normal. I just sound like a basic guy. I'm basic.
Sounds like you've gotten a voice you're happy with then.
Yeah. But I also sound a bit forced, and I don't want to sound forced. I don't want to sound forced.
I don't think anything sounds forced to me. Is there something that is sounding forced to you?
Yeah, it's like the way I sound. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I just sound a bit forced. I don't.
Can you make it sound more forced? And maybe that will help me pinpoint what it is that you're noticing.
What's good, bro? This is very forced. Very, very forced. Very extremely forced.
Okay. I think I understand what it is. Okay. This is my guess. This is only a guess based on our very short conversation. When you did more forced, all I heard was like even more masculine. Okay? Like you just went even lower larynx height and even buzzier. My guess is, and it's just a guess because we've only had a short conversation, but my guess is this is a little bit of brainworms where you're going to that more masculine area. It feels different. It feels weird because you're not as used to it yet. And so you're thinking it sounds forced. That's just a guess. But yeah. What do I mean by buzziness? I mean the vocal weight stuff. Perceptual vocal weight, aka closed quotient.
Yeah, that quote-unquote forced sounded so genuine. So
yeah, I didn't hear it sound. It didn't sound forced at all to me. It was like super, super genuine.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ty, I think this might be a matter of brainworms. I would recommend re-listen to. This is going to be hard for you to do, but like re-listen to the VOD of our conversation just now. Listen to your bit and like pretend it's not you. Does it still sound forced?
Wait, what's the how do I listen to it?
Oh, youtube.com/@trans_network. Just like rewind
Okay.
by like 5 minutes or whatever, wherever it is that is you. Yeah. But yeah, I think I think it's brainworms. I'm gonna be real with you. I think it's brainworms. I think you. All I heard was like you went more masculine. Like you sounded like freaking I don't know, some hot guy. Like that's all I heard.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and go to the VOD. I'm gonna check.
Yeah. It sounds pretty masculine. Okay, let's have a look at who else is wanting to go. Let me just catch up on chats first.
Can I just throw something in on the last person? I went through a phase of a month and a half where everyone was saying I was succeeding, but there was brainworms bad enough in my head to where I thought it sounded like terribly wrong.
Okay.
It gets better. Okay, this is my point. Is it does get better.
Yeah, I would super agree with that.
Take the feedback and run with it.
I think you muted like the end of your sentence there. But yeah, I super agree with what Beth was saying there. As you get more used to your voice, it will sound better to me. You felt like you sounded forced. I rarely do this, but I'm just going to tell you, it didn't sound forced, bro. It just sounded like real masculine. Yeah, I honestly like that's like if I talk now, like it sounded pretty similar to this, but like even more masculine. Like if I drop it down a bit, yeah, it just sounded kind of like this, where it's like pretty hyper masculine, just like a dude, bro. Yeah, you sounded like a dude. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't hear any forcedness to it. I think
110%. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, 110%. It just reminded me immediately of like hanging out with cis guys, like just indistinguishable straight away. I was just like, oh, I'm back home.
Yeah, to me it sounds like like my impression of a situation is you're hearing yourself go to more masculine and you're thinking but it sounds a bit more different to your normal voice, or sorry, your original voice. It's probably just a bit unfamiliar to you at the moment and it's brainwormsing a little bit. That's my guess, Ty. Yeah. You think NFL highlights are getting to you? You'd make great NFL highlights.
I actually would, bro, because I'm a QB. I'm not even.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm being dead serious, bro. I'm a QB. I play football for my school, bro. I'm being dead.
I barely even know what that means. I'm British. I know quarterback is a thing. I don't know what it does, but I know you. I know you're a thing.
I play
American football.
I play both football. I play American football and then I play the other football.
And you play real football.
Yeah, I do.
Fab. Okay, who wants to go next? I assume, Beth, you were just referring to wanting to add that little bit about brainworms. If it was an extra thing, let me know. If not, whoever speaks next gets to go next.
Hello?
Hello. How can I help you?
So I'm having some troubles with certain things. I want to have more consistency. When laughing hard and screaming from like horror stuff, I want to have full control over my voice, and that's when I start to break.
Right.
Even at louder ranges. One thing I'm going to practice is the baby coo and gross out, but really loud.
Oh, I see. So
like vibrato extremely.
So you're saying that basically when you're controlling your quotient, your lightness, you're finding issues of volume pairing with that? Is that the question?
I start to break a little.
Okay, can you demonstrate for me so I can hear the problem happening, please?
Well, whenever I start laughing, I'm getting a little loud. That's probably around that.
it didn't work. Yeah, I'm not hearing any like cutting out of your voice right now, so I want to like I want to try and get you to do the thing that's causing it to happen, so I can like hear for what's going on. Just sounds like laughing. You have like glottal stops in your laughing, like it's like a I can't, I don't.
Yeah. That happens sometimes.
But like so that's just a normal laugh. Okay, give me. You said it was happening during the baby thing, so give me the baby thing. Cooing for baby versus the grossed out by a baby.
Oh, baby. I don't know.
Your laugh sounds totally normal. Yeah, we want like a really gentle like, hi baby. Very, very cute. Give me that.
Oh, baby cute.
Yeah? And then like, baby, baby's just thrown up on you. Gross, baby.
Oh, gross.
Sounds fine.
Thank you for your time.
I'm not sure what we're cutting out.
Maybe I'm overthinking it. I'm gonna be streaming, and I just want to make sure that I don't like make it awkward. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I just want to be consistent.
Yeah. So I'm not hearing any issues. I think your grossed out baby kind of lacked some closed quotient. You didn't quite go as heavy with it. But if you're trying to feminize, maybe that's a good thing. But yeah, so I think you're sounding like I'm not hearing anything. I'm not hearing any cutting out of your voice. What I will say is, because it might just be that you haven't been able to emulate it right now, and maybe it's just not happening right now. So if you like find it happening, make a little recording and send it over for the clip feedback in my Discord, and I'll like help you with it, just in case it's not happening right now. But yeah, my impression is brainworms, essentially.
Thank you. You did a lot of help for us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
you took time out of your day, and I respect that.
You're super welcome. I'm happy to help. Thank the Ko-fi people if everyone's bringing it to you. I just take the money.
That's all I needed. Thank you so much.
No, you're super welcome. You're super welcome. Cool. All right, who else would like a go? Brainworms is basically like saying it's in our head. Yes, yeah. When I say brainworms, I mean like dysphoria things causing issues. Brainworms is just a cute way of saying it. So like an example of brainworms is, to me, my voice, when I re-listen to this workshop, it'll sound like a dude. The entire workshop will sound like a dude because of my own brainworms that just won't go away. So I just accept when everybody else tells me that it sounds femme, because I'm like, well, if everybody says it sounds femme, then it probably sounds femme. But because it's my own voice, it makes it a bit harder for me to analyze. Brainworms be worming. If you do experience that, by the way, the solution is, one, listen to other people's feedback, and two, like, break down each individual element. I know my larynx is raised. I hear that brighter sound. I know I have an open quotient. I hear that lack of buzziness. So I know all the individual elements are good and they are where they should be. I'm just not clicking that last bit, probably because it still sounds like me, but feminized. So that's why I'm struggling with the like final step there in my brain. So if you find that like it sounds male to you, but you know for certain that everything is correct, it's probably brainworms. Especially if everybody else is telling you it's like sounds good, it's probably brainworms. So yeah, it's totally fam. Thank you, Beth. Yeah, I know it is. I just, the brainworms be worming. Zan, you're awesome. Okay, you're awesome for coming. Good to know that analyzing recordings can be misleading. Yeah, kinda. I think I'm a particularly extreme case on that. I would say, like, analyze your recordings, but don't analyze them based on, like, does this sound masc or femme? Analyze it based on, does this sound brighter or darker? Does this sound like I've raised my larynx? Does, like, remove all of the gendering stuff and just go, like, super clinical. Like, does this sound open quotient or closed quotient? Or does this sound light or heavy? use those like very clinical language instead of sounding like masculine or feminine. That'll help you to deal with that, and it'll help you analyze more like precisely. Just reminds you of Icky. Yeah, I get that a lot. I think I sound very different to Icky. But yeah, if I sound like Icky, then I'm good. I am happy with that because she's got a pretty cool voice. I feel like Icky, her voice like just resonates to me as like her voice sounds like she has her shit together. So if I sound like Icky, then hells yeah, because that's a cool voice to have. I think it's like for her speech pattern and a little bit her accent. Just it portrays very put together to me, like a business lady. Is there a way to bring Visetto down a bit? Wait, what? Is there a way to bring Visetto down a bit but still sound fair? I have no idea what that sentence meant. What's Visetto? I'm guessing there's a typo somewhere in that. I do not know what you just said. I do sound like her? Sick. I'll take it.
Falsetto,
British,
as in, it's like a musical term. Falsetto means...
Oh, falsetto. Yeah. Okay, is there a way to bring the falsetto down a bit and still sound fun? You shouldn't need to use falsetto in your femme voice. Falsetto is like its own separate thing. You can bring falsetto lower down and it will just sound like you brought falsetto lower down. Like if I go all the way up into falsetto, this is me all the way up in falsetto, and this is me at like a lower pitch falsetto, this is me at a lower pitch falsetto. Yeah, those are all different falsettos. M2 is the technical term. It means vibratory mechanism 2, M2. It shouldn't affect the gendering at all if you go lower pitched in your falsetto. You just sound young? Good. Young's good. You sound like a cis guy in the video. There you go, Taj. Ty. There you go, Ty. Hells yeah. Beth, you might have been misled there. Falsetto is an improper balance of resonance and pitch. Falsetto is like an entirely different way to use your vocal folds. This is a little bit more detailed, but essentially when I was saying close, open, close, open, close, that's a bit of a oversimplification. It's actually that as you do that pattern of closing and opening, you can have like different motions that you take for that. Hiccups, man. So if your vocal folds are moving in like a kind of Mexican wave, so like they close like that, okay, that's going to be ordinary modal talking, M1, okay? If they open, like, if they're doing like that, where it's like they're really stretched out and they're just making like a really small gap in between and rapidly opening and closing, that's going to be falsetto, okay? So it's different ways of your vocal folds vibrating. That's why we call them vibratory mechanisms. There's a few different ways they can happen. And like there can be things laid on top of that. So like you could have like them doing that, but also like there's little pops and stuff in between. It's hard to do that with my hands, but you can imagine like within that there's like little bursts and stuff coming through. So that would be like if you had fry going on during falsetto, like I'm struggling to do it right now. Maybe you can't do M2 and fry at the same time. I'm sure you can. I'm sure I've heard someone do that, but it's not something I've messed around with. But certainly, like we can have that wave motion going on and have little pops coming out as that's happening, and that's what happens during normal vocal fry during M1. Is falsetto the same thing as M2? Kinda. You use M2 to do falsetto. Falsetto also implies like some. It's more like a singing style. So like there's going to be some stylistic things that are also implied in falsetto. But like part of falsetto is using M2. Yeah, falsetto is like specifically like a singing style. It comes from singing. You can skip. Ty, you are chaotic. But that's cool. I like that for you. Yo, do you guys want to hear a crazy story? This is a crazy story to me. I think it's a one-off. It's a one-off. But this happened to me today. I went to a restaurant with my mum today. It's like a day before Mother's Day because she's not available on Mother's Day. Went to a restaurant and the dude that owns the restaurant was like chatting with us. I'm half Spanish. My mum is Spanish. And this was a tapas place. And the person clocked that my mum was Spanish and they chit-chatted in Spanish and they had a really good time. And he gave us a bunch of free stuff. It was awesome. But anyway, yeah. So they were getting along like a house on fire. I went to the toilet at one point, and I passed the dude, and he like stopped me and was like, "There's something about your face. I can't put my finger on it. There's something I love about your face. You're so beautiful." And I'm like, "Okay, this is a bit weird. You're like 15 years older than me, but whatever." But the fact that he's saying all of that makes me think of like, did he know that I'm trans? Could he not tell? Did I just pass for the first time? That's kind of crazy. So I might have like had my first time passing today. So that's kind of crazy. There's like a little story time for y'all. I got flirted with by someone. I'm 27 by the way, and some dude who's in like his late 30s, early 40s had a little flirt with me. So take that as you will. It was a little bit creepy, but also I guess I passed. So euphoria for the win.
A little icky, but we take those W's.
We take those W's. We take those W's. Win's a win.
You might pass more than you think. And it's just when people are confronting you and saying that, hey, girl,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's probably a lot of times where you're passing before that. Everybody just clocks you as female.
I think the makeup helps, because I definitely don't normally pass. Like, I've only been on HRT for a year, and we've been struggling to get my T down. Like, I'm pretty certain normal life I don't pass. With makeup, as well as, like, the voice probably helps, because he's probably not aware that, like, voice training exists, because he's just some dude. Either way, I'll take it. A win's a win. But he should definitely take older than him. No, older than me, sorry. Like, he's definitely closer to my parents' age than my age.
That's a little creepy. That guy is creepy. It's good for you to realize that.
I mean, he wasn't too pushy about it, so you know
that's good.
It's fine. Like, I didn't feel like I was like in danger or anything, so it was just a little bit odd. But we take those.
I think the first time that happened to me, I was like, yay, and also, ew.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, but also, like, I'm going to go back to my mum now.
Good choice. The right one that comes along ain't going to be that guy.
I got the right one, like, over any other room. So, I'm taken. My boyfriend is plenty enough for me.
Same here. I met my husband, we were just talking about Star Wars, and then just went from there.
Oh, hells yeah. I love
it's
that.
so stupid.
Nah, it's a good start. Yeah. Me and my boyfriend got together because I was the coach of our Quidditch team. Because yes, I play Quidditch. That's how we got together. Okay, does anybody want, because I've gone on a huge long tangent here, does anybody want more help with their voice?
I kind of mess up when singing sometimes.
I can't really give you much feedback on singing just because it's not an area of expertise for me. It's something I'd like to learn in the future, but right now it's just I suck at singing. My shower cries every time I sing.
One thing that I do personally is the vibrato I do is when I know from singing where I'm going to start messing up a note is when I start. A lot of people use vibrato when singing most of the time.
Yeah.
It just helps. If you don't, you sound like maybe really flat. It just sounds a little off. So just do the tiniest bit of vibrato while singing. It's worth a shot. You could try in the shower or something.
Vibrato is something I'm learning to do, actually. Vibrato is really difficult to do, or at least I'm finding it difficult to learn. But I'm slowly figuring out how to do that.
I am practicing singing. I'm not very good, but you can listen to an example of me doing it. It's not something that if you're listening to, You have to really focus.
I'm probably gonna miss it then because I don't do singing. Singing's way outside of my
Exactly. It's, I don't have the song on me, but let me think. Fly me to the moon.
Oh, I heard a little
me
bit on that moon, that like
play
moon.
among the stars. Like that. That's with vibrato.
I could
It
hear
just helps me
I
get
could
just a tiny
about
bit
hear
of
it on the
control.
moon. I didn't hear it anywhere else.
The whole time I was doing it, just for control.
Oh,
Because
right,
it's
okay,
really hard and you have to sing-songy. You have to be really sing-songy.
Yeah, for me it's difficult. I suck at singing though. It's just all rubbish to me. Shower cries, yeah, you got that one. But yeah, if people did want singing help though, I would recommend. I believe Savvy does singing stuff. Also, Crammed from Singuistics, he does singing stuff, so I'd super recommend him as well. He's got a lot of experience with singing stuff, so like he was doing singing before he was doing gender affirming voice stuff. Okay, would anybody else like some help with their voice? Ooh, Quidditch? Yeah, I used to play Quidditch. I would have ended up in my Premier League, but I just couldn't afford all the transport because it was going to be expensive because you had to self-fund. It was pretty small in the UK. Yeah, anybody else want some help with their voice? Just speak next to go next.
Speak next to go next. Oh no!
Is that what you wanted to go next, Beth?
I do want to take just a moment of your time
Go for it.
and throw out a little bit of intonation questionation. I've been told that often this sounds over the top. And what can I do to reel that in?
So intonation stuff is
You follow me?
like a bit of a tricky one. It's very, very culturally dependent. So like the way, like what we mean when we say intonation is going to change based on your region and based on your accent. So like the way to think about it is like imagine every accent is split into a masculine and feminine counterpart. None of this is anatomy stuff, and it's all just cultural stuff that's built over time. So it depends on what accent we mean, where we live, in terms of what intonation we might be going for. The typical ones that you'll hear, and if you hear people just saying this intonation is the feminine intonation, they're wrong. What they mean is that's what's culturally relevant for West Coast America. Because there is a big bias, and even I used to be wrong on this. I've since learned better now that I'm a pro. But yeah, so like there is a huge bias in the voice world for West Coast America because like 80% of vocal coaches are West Coast American, like Seattle and California and those sorts of places. So if you hear just the feminine intonation, it's not the feminine intonation, it's a feminine intonation for West Coast America. So yeah, it depends on where we are talking about. I would say if you feel like the thing that you're doing is too much of a thing, but you still think it is the right thing, like one is going to be just listen to the people around you in your region, and that's going to help clue you in on what the intonation changes are in your region. So listen to women around you, listen to men around you, compare how their intonation is, like on average. If you find, and this goes for anything in voice, if you find that you don't have like a super clued in thing on like what is happening, but you know there's too much of something, try doing more of that thing, okay? Because even if you're doing more of a thing, you're gaining control. So if you could do more of it, you can do less of it, okay? So as you get that control, reel it back and see where you end up. A lot of the intonation stuff is going to be a matter of like really that's a self-analysis thing. It's very difficult for anyone else to help you with that because it super depends on what it is you're specifically after. Unless you like are able to develop exactly what the intonation is in your area, in which case you can communicate that to the coach and let them know what you want. If that coach happens to have familiarity with your particular region, then that might help too. Like, I'm probably going to be very good with the intonation stuff for Britain, and a little bit with West Coast America because it's so predominant in our culture. Does that answer your question, Beth? I know that's not like a super actionable thing, but... Yeah, no worries. Okay, good. So lean into it to then pull away from it. Is that if you're home alone late that you're wanting to get some feedback? Like, if that works out, are you wanting feedback? Is that what the question is? Or what is being communicated in that statement? Yeah, the technical terms can be a lot, I would say, and it can be difficult to research them as well because people use them in different ways. Not everybody uses them accurately. A really common one is like nasality. People mean all sorts of things when they say nasality. Some people mean twang, which has nothing to do with nasality. Some people mean the lack of nasality as nasality. Like some people will call this nasality, but this isn't nasality. This is this is no nasality. I mean, there is no nasality right now to the extent where it sounds weird. So like people can mean different things. If you are ever in doubt, please do just ask, and I will be happy to help you. There's also, hang on, let me grab you. Singuistics has this really useful, just like mega link of like a huge glossary, which I will grab for you right now. Where's the chat for that? Welcome to Bot Spam. Question mark glossary. Boop. Boop. Okay, and I'll pop this in all the chats for everybody. So there's a big, huge, massive glossary. Thank for people over in Singuistics for it. Here's a big, massive glossary. Here's a big, massive glossary. And here's a big, massive glossary. That was made by people in Singuistics, so do send them some appreciation if you find that useful. Okay, I'm going to pop to the toilet one last time. Think of any questions you have, or if anybody wants to go next, just get ready to do that. Okay, I'll be right back. Okie dokie. Boopity boo 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 boo. Beth says, you seem to recall Singuistics saying that they use a bunch of different vocabulary and sometimes different than a large part of the voice community. If that's true, then standards are valuable to the extent they are indeed standard. Yeah, so essentially Singuistics uses specifically scientific terminology. That's their whole brand. And they try to keep things as specified as possible. In my workshops, I use all terminology. So if you've been paying attention to the workshops, you'll have language that you recognize. So instead of saying resonance or vocal tract size or laryngeal resonance or anything like that, they say larynx height. And instead of saying weight or buzziness or anything like that, they say quotient. These terms are technically not quite interchangeable, but for your purposes are interchangeable. They mean more specific things, but like they'll do. But their terminology is good, and I do use it as well. I think they can be a little bit. Yeah, larynx height isn't everything, but they talk about OPC. So they talk about OPC within a term called embouchure. Embouchure refers to everything oral and oropharyngeal. So where you might see some people calling things like R1, R2, R3, they instead say larynx height and embouchure. Embouchure being a repurposed word from saxophony. I do think in linguistics they can be a little bit over puritanical with their terms. At the same time, though, their terms are all very accurate and very precise, which is like obviously very useful. So like there's the negative of being a bit puritanical, but there's the huge positive of everything being very just like correct, essentially. Exactly, it's just hyper precise, essentially. Yeah, no worries, PolyX. Good luck with your voice. I'm really glad we had some trans masks here today. We don't get those very often. Lets me flex my masculization knowledge. Okay, is anybody wanting to go next for some voice feedback? Otherwise we might.
Yeah.
Oh yeah? Hello.
Hello. So I noticed like with my voice, like at a certain point where I want it to sound, it's sort of like it's in between that like falsetto and like is there a way to maybe like bring it down?
I think you might be confusing some things potentially. So like falsetto is something that sounds like this. We can bring it down. This is still kind of. We might have entered M1 there actually.
Yeah. So if I like speak like this.
Yeah. So I would imagine for most people, most people are going to be wanting like to be an M1 for normal talking. If you want your voice to be an M2, that's it's up to you. It's your voice. You might also be getting confused with something that is called mixed. Mixed is a bad term that is in other vocal, but it's just what the vocal world has called it, but it's a bad term. There's this idea of like a M1.5, like a mix of M1 and M2. It's not actually real. It's more like you can make M2 kind of sound like M1, or you can make M1 kind of sound like M2, and people call that mix. It's not actually mix though. That's usually used for singing stuff though. My guess is you probably are wanting M1. That's what people usually want. And if you're trying to say like M2, but then bringing it way lower, I would be guessing you're probably meaning like a high-pitched M1. That's just a guess though. Might not necessarily be the case. Do you have any example voices of voices that you feel like have the thing that you're trying to find?
Yeah, I've got like obviously like a soft spoken like femme voice.
Yeah, whatever. Send a link.
Yeah. Rapidly.
Did you guys hear those neck cracks? That was amazing neck cracks. That felt so freaking good. Mihuggy, you missed the big thank yous earlier. You were one of the people we thanked. Your parents are home, no worries. Just swing by next week, Lake. I will say for minors, my server is 18 plus. Not that there's anything like lewd or anything. It's just like a safety thing. So once you turn 18, by all means head over to my Discord and I can give you like concentrated feedback. For the moment, yeah, you can swing by next week and I'll be happy to give you some feedback. Also, I see that you're in trans voice. I super recommend Winter if it's in trans voice. She gives good feedback. She's really good. So by all means, see if you can get Winter's attention for some feedback. There's like a clip submission thing. I find trans voice really difficult to navigate, so I don't tend to use it very much, I'm afraid. But by all means, like submit a clip and ping me, or if I don't get to it, I'm sure Winter will give you some help with it. Yeah, I find it like difficult having like clips separate to clip feedback. It just is really confusing to me. It's difficult to like make everything clear what you're referring to and stuff. I wish they'd switch it to just being threads. I feel like that's so much simpler, but whatever. It ain't my Discord, so. Okay, let me listen to this clip. Once we finish the ads.
Get ready for spring with Amazon Spring Deal Day.
Thanks, Amazon.
Hello. Does Mystic know where Kentucky is? We should do an America blank map and have her
Okay. This voice is an M1.
guess the states. I'm gonna get every single one of them wrong.
She has a slight breathiness to her voice, like da 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 da. This is her slight breathiness going on with her voice. She has a slightly raised pitch. She has a very, very raised larynx. So if I go to like cheese. Okay, so now we have like an ultra raised larynx. And then if I add a little bit of breathiness, now I'm getting a little bit closer to where she's at. To keep the sounding really full, because she has a very, very full voice. You also need a very, very light vocal weight, a very open quotient. Add a little bit of breathiness in there and you get somewhere close to what she's got going on. Yeah, I would have a play around with those things there. So trying, she's just got like the ultra feminine thing going on. So have a play around with that. That would be my suggestion. Does she's Irish?
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch you guess the states. I'm gonna butcher them.
She does not sound Irish to me. That's an East Coast, West Coast America to me.
Yeah, it's Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't sound Irish at all to me, but whatever. What do I know? But yeah, I would say for her, you just want to go for like ultra raised larynx, ultra light vocal weight and some breathiness. As you get better at it, there is something called OPC. I would say focus on the first two first and really get good at them and then think about OPC. Like come back to me and I'll help you with OPC.
Thank you.
To give you a little thing for that. Do I even have this in here? I don't think I do. I need to make a thing for OPCers. Give me just a second. Pictures. OPC. This is OPC. Unfortunately, there is not really very good drill for it. It's more look at this GIF and shine a flashlight into, like, use your phone, shine the torch into your mouth, and look inside your mouth. Okay. Try and reproduce what she's doing in that GIF. You don't need to go as much as she is, but you can see there's like an arch in the back, and she's like shrinking it. Okay, that's OPC. So if you want to get the voice of this VTuber, then there's also going to be quite a bit of OPC going on. You've never seen that? Yeah. That's how you get like going beyond feminine into like childlike. That's OPC. Usually you'll get a little bit of this. Well, yeah, Miles can do that. Normally you'll get a little bit of that going on with the larynx height drill, which is why I don't cover this specifically in our workshops. But it is a thing that we can also think about going like hyper OPC. All right. Any other questions from anybody? Can I give any more assistance to anybody? Anybody else want some one-on-one attention?
Did you get any more sponsorship deals from Scopely?
We did not get any more sponsorship deals. Now that I've moved over to YouTube, Streamlabs or Stream Elements doesn't seem to like that. So we don't seem to be getting any more sponsorships. But now that we're getting extra help from people with the with the Ko-fi, I don't think we're going to need any more sponsorships. One more would have been really good to just help me out a bit, but like it's fine, we'll live. I'm just going to sell some stuff. I'm legitimately selling my car to help teach you guys more. But yeah, so I don't think we're going to need any more sponsorships. Certainly we don't have any, even if we wanted them. Because the switch over to YouTube kind of messed us up with that, but that's okay. Alrighty then, if we are all finished and we don't have anybody else wanting some feedback, then I'm going to finish up here because it's very late for me. I'm pretty sleepy. But thank you all so much for coming. Huge thank you to everybody supporting the Ko-fi. Huge thank you to freaking our brand new Ko-fi supporter. That's... What the heck did my voice just do? Yeah, that's... Excuse me. That's huge. So thank you so much, everybody that supports over at the Ko-fi. You guys are amazing. Cien, I think it was. Yeah, Cien supporting the Ko-fi. You crazy. Thank you so much for doing that. And everybody that does that, thank you so much. As I said, all of this is funded by the people that support us at Ko-fi. If you want to be one of those people and you want to get shout outs each week, head over to the Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/transnetwork. Links below you. Super huge thank you to those people. If you want more help from me, just in general, head over to the Discord. Link is below me, or if you click on my username, on my profile in whichever Discord you're in, all of those have a link to my Discord, so head over using that link. And if you want to rewatch the VODs or catch us on the YouTubes, then head over to youtube.com/@trans_network. There is actually going to be some content coming soon. And there's going to be, now that we're doing free Shadow Ball lessons, some of those will be uploaded to the YouTube as well. The most useful ones. So yeah, I think that's everything. All right, thank you all so much for coming. And I think that's going to be us. So, first of all, goodbye to YouTubes. Bye YouTube. We love you. Bye-bye.